Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learning Planet Festival Day 2. This is the beginning of the Launchpad session, where we're looking forward to welcome various organizations from across the world, really, who are launching their books, programs, new initiatives, and they will have all 10 minutes each to present their exciting new things with the rest of the community. The whole session, it's going to host about 24 initiatives, but this segment that I'm facilitating will be half an hour with three amazing organizations from Australia, Russia, and China. And with any further ado, I would love to welcome the first project from Russia, presented by Ekaterina Lashkarova and Pavel Luksha from Global Education Futures and WorldSkill International. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Tudor. Hello, everyone. It's a big honor and joy for me and Pavel to be here today with you guys. So we wanted to tell you a few words about our initiative, Future Skills. As a collaboration between WorldSkills and Global Education Futures started in 2015, but actually the whole projects of the forecast and foresight for the educational field started even much earlier. However, if we are talking about this global collaboration, it always was the two important pathways to the research and the practice, the competition, the update of educational program. So the last year, when the whole world faced this horrible challenge of the pandemic, in our collaborative team, we decided that if life gives you lemons, you need to eat. So we tried to make the best out of this pretty upsetting situation when we cannot meet personally. So we arranged the project that we call the Future Skills 2.0 for the 2020s and New Hope. And Pavel going to tell you a little more how it actually was organized, but actually from the perspective of the WorldSkills International, where we have 80 countries and kind of million young people who compete, who perform excellent through their skills. We decided to use this time to discuss how actually the different industry changes, partly because of the pandemic, but actually also because of the whole scope of the global trends and processes which influence labor market. So there was more than 14 sessions with more than 800 experts from 49 countries who discussed how their industries changed and what does it mean specifically for the educational field, for the field of training and practice. So Pavel, can you tell a little more how actually it was organized?
Yeah, so we actually ran, as Ekaterina said, online sessions where we invited industry experts from all over the world, north and south, east and west, 49 countries participating that were very representative of the whole world economy. We basically covered 90% of the world economy in our report. And the idea is to bridge the key trends that are changing our society and our economy, the skills that are needed to do it, and new educational models that will be required to cultivate these skills. The 2020s are going to see massive transition towards a new economic model that has been long anticipated. Of course, one thing is pretty visible. It's transition to more digitalized, more automated economy that had been long time discussed, but actually with the COVID situation, with pandemics, digital transformation and automation of economy started to accelerate. And actually the technologies are becoming much more accessible. It's not only for the first world economies, it's for all economies around the world. They started this transition. And of course, this requires a plethora of new skills, people working with artificial intelligence, with new types of virtual reality, with design and setting up programming of robotics and different other solutions. But this is only one component of the new economy, because of course, the majority of people will not work with technology, they will work with other people. So the economy that emerges in front of our eyes, in fact, because of proliferation of technology, becomes much more human-centered. Many people are actually going into more relational, more creative, more participatory types of interactions with each other. So the spread of technology, digitalization of technology, doesn't mean that we are going to go into a human-less economy. Instead, we are actually going to something that will be much more human-centered. And this requires all kinds of skills where people can relate with other people, serve other people, co-create with other people. We are moving, in fact, throughout this decade towards a much less consumerist and much more participatory economy, where people are valuing more and more, not really the consumption, but really being together with other people, co-creating, jointly participating in things, being present, learning together, and so on. So really, economy becomes, in this sense, much more, let's say, humane. And this requires, for example, from everyone to cultivate qualities such as empathy, which is an economically but also humanly very, very important skill. Finally, of course, we understand that that one of the key challenges for our society is the disbalanced relationship with nature, with our planet, and how the economy, the industrial economy of 20th century was destroying the planet. This has to change, and the idea of green growth and regenerative economy starts to go in. The problem is that the economy, let's say the technologies are only in, many of them are only in nascent state and only in prototypes, but over this decade, they're going to take over. So by the end of decade, we anticipate really the surge in sustainable, regenerative green economy coming up. And it's a totally different relationship in businesses, between businesses and nature, between businesses and human beings. So actually, this is a decade of transition. This is a decade of transformation. Why we call our report A New Hope? Because we believe that without skills, without knowledge that people are going to cultivate, this is not going to happen. So this creates a unique role for education, for both formal education, just colleges, universities, but also informal and innovative education, education that can be provided with platforms, with learning communities, and so on. So actually, we are stepping into a new model of education that will be highly demanded. All kinds of educational innovations, learning innovations that embrace peer-to-peer learning, knowledge building, empowerment of everyone to become change maker, entrepreneur, innovator, artist. It's actually the pathway to the future. And we think that, that finally we are in the situation that this is not some kind of renegade or guerrilla kind of activity anymore. This is something that becomes demanded by the mainstream. So the good news that from our report, and the new hope, as we say, is actually that the rebels becoming the rebirth of the empire, so to say. If we remember from Star Wars, it's not a random metaphor that we decided to use for our title. We are actually envisaging the time when these rebels, the marginalized communities, are they find that their knowledge, their skills become increasingly demanded. So we believe that this transformation of economy and society will drive change in education. And so we hope that together with our colleagues from all over the world, with Learning Planet and other innovators, we will start building up what we call learning ecosystems for these new human qualities that will also help us transform the economy and society for a totally different paradigm. Ekaterina, to you for concluding words.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that you have contacts of myself and Pavel. You can contact us through the link that Pavel sent on our report. So basically, we believe that now when we have like all of this, not only knowledge, but this kind of collaborative energy to implement these future skills into the practice, it is super important to learn from each other, to collaborate on this. So if you are an educator who want to implement these practices into your educational practices within the future skills, or you represent the industrial company and you have some, I don't know, equipment, some laboratory where you think that this present the future skills in the report can be used, or you also researcher who explore the future skills field and how the labor market changes, how education practice changes. We strongly welcome you into the collaboration in any form. We definitely gonna organize the several activities by ourselves, but also we would be happy to join your collaborative networks and your events and work on this together. Thank you.
Pavel, Ekaterina, thank you so much. For everyone watching live or later, please head to futureskills2020s.com. I will put the link into the live stream on YouTube and on Attendify. Feel free to explore the report and of course, get in touch with the team if you have questions or if you're looking forward to maybe create a project together and so on. So thanks for your time, and very excited to browse the report myself, and I'm sure many in our community will do the same. Now, I would love to pass the mic to the amazing team from AIM Mentoring with their presentation or project, which is called Imagination University, making higher order thinking accessible to all. Please welcome Parul Jagdish and Ryan Miller. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that, Tudor. I'll kick us off by telling you guys a little bit about what AIM is. So AIM has worked for 16 years as an imagination factory looking to eradicate educational inequity for marginalized youth. Our founder started it when he was a 19-year-old sitting between two worlds, one of privilege with his white family and one of systemic disadvantage with his black family. And he wanted to be the bridge between those two worlds so that he could design a fair world for all. One that where we all saw each other is not from where we've come, but from where we could be. So AIM's work is transforming education from the inside, providing access to opportunities for young people globally that have historically been marginalized. I was one of those kids that benefited from the AIM program when I was in high school. And once I graduated from the program, I've been fortunate enough to land myself in a gig straight away working for the organization. And over the last 6 years, I've been able to mentor kids from all around the world and to really walk that bridge from within partnering conversations. And, you know, I've been part of being able to write new narratives for kids being left behind. And I've been fortunate enough to forge complex, unlikely alliances across all backgrounds and divides, and have been part of organizing change by changing the way the world works. You know, I've done a lot to be where I am now at 23 years old, but what's more impressive is that I'm not actually very unique. I'm one of 25,000 kids in Australia that have experienced AIM and the impact that it has had on people all around the world.
Thank you, Rianne. You are one amazing, unique, powerful human story. I know you're one of 25,000 amazing youngsters that have risen up through the ranks with AIM and gone on to achieve incredible things. But yeah, your story is very unique and powerful and inspires me every day. So thanks for that. And yeah, as Rianne mentioned, AIM has grown as a grassroots organization in Australia to become everywhere in Australia, there's a university or a TAFE or a vocational education center. We have an AIM presence. And 4 years ago, we took the model global. So we started working with our friends in Africa, in Uganda, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, as well as we launched in the US last year. And of course, with COVID disrupting all our plans, we had our biggest program year planned till date last year. And then COVID disrupted all our plans, as happened everywhere else in the world. But thankfully, if AIM lives and breathes imagination, we found a solve in moving things quite quickly to the digital world. And the way we did that was by launching a live TV stream called Imagination TV, which you can check out on our website, aimmentoring.com, or just go to AIM's YouTube channel, where we got world-class, high-quality mentors, former prime ministers, CEOs of big organizations like Salesforce or Bloomberg, to come and work with the kids directly and not mentor these kids, in fact, be reverse mentored by the kids. And the whole ethos of AIM from the day it was incepted is to provide the stage for youngsters to lead from the front. People like Rianne to take the stage and show us what's possible. And that's exactly what's been happening in all these different countries. The initiative we're here to speak about today is something that, we've been dreaming of from the beginning. We knew the model has been working. There's been lots of evidence done into our work. There's been lots of research built into AIM's past history. There's been University of Sydney-led independent evaluations. There's a couple of Harvard Business case studies, as well as a KPMG cost benefit or economic evaluation. And all of that essentially told us that, yes, this model is working. And then it was on us, the onus was on us to take the model to as many different parts of the world, because effectively it's a bridge between those with power and those without, people of privilege and people who are at the risk of being left behind. And on this bridge, which we call our bridge of imagination, we've built this complex world where people can come and interact with each other, can know that we are different as human beings, and yet acknowledge our shared identity and look to a future that we can build together, hopefully. So all the things Ekaterina and Pavel were speaking to before, how do we prepare ourselves to be future ready, to plan for the future and look at things that we can do together? So Imagination University is born with exactly those thoughts. And we took everything, all our knowledge over the past 16 years, we condensed them into a digestible toolkit. And now we have 6 distinct knowledge areas that we can train anyone. So there's a specialization for school students to rise up as entrepreneurs, artists, filmmakers, changers of the world and lead from the front. All the work that people like Rian have been able to do, we just open it up to kids everywhere. The next stream is for university students who get to lead their local chapter of AIM on their university or college campus, no matter where they are. So Ekaterina, Pavel, if you've got students studying somewhere, you want them to be a part of Imagination University, they have the same opportunity to engage with us. That's the one with university students. Then we have something for teachers to be able to teach with imagination. And then there's a couple more opportunities for executives, no matter what organization you're a part of, wherever, if it's a not-for-profit, for-profit, if it's government, civil society, yada, yada, we still have an opportunity for you to bring a co-CEO or a co-executive into your organization. And that sees a young person between the ages of 18 to 30 who comes from a traditionally, historically marginalized background, take on accelerated leadership position by shadowing the executive for a year-long period. And that's been creating some amazing, young, incredible Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders here in the Australian context in AIM's work, and amazing, potentially African-American leaders, Native American, and different communities all across the world. And the last stream is for citizens. So anyone, anywhere. I know all of us as humans have this inherent desire to go and create change. All of us have this idea sitting in the back of our head. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if I did something? Wouldn't it be cool if I went to the neighborhood, homeless shelter and volunteered my time? So we effectively get to bring everyone together, school students, uni students, teachers, execs, and citizens, all under the one group. And we provide them our toolkit. We connect them to each other through a small network. And the network is in turn connected to a wider global network, which has hundreds of partners in governments, corporates, so on and so forth. And collectively, they would embark on a one-year immersive learning discovery journey and lead their own social change projects all across the different streams. So that's just a bit about Imagination University. You can check out more of our story and things on our website. It's just a one-page holding website at this stage. So go in and explore and have a bit of fun. I think this is when we throw to a quick 1.5-minute video that introduces what Imagination University is. And although applications for this year have closed, we can still take ongoing applications on an exceptional basis if they come through our partners. So if you're watching this through Learning Planet, you'll find instructions on how to access the university even for this year. So hopefully we'll see some of you soon, and over to the video now.
We know what happened in 2020. So let's imagine 2021.
Let's imagine
what a free and just world looks like. Let's imagine
a university free for all,
with no paywalls to higher order thinking for anyone, anywhere.
Let's imagine
a social network for good.
a bridge for us to come together and redesign the way the world works.
Let's imagine what happens when we tell the kids at the back of the class,
We see you.
There is a generation of kids just like you.
Let's imagine school students, university students,
Teachers, executives, citizens.
coming together to work on a curriculum designed for a future that we hope to build. Now, imagine.
It's happening right here. And you're invited.
Welcome to Imagination University, brought to you by AIM, the Imagination Factory.
Applications are open now.
Thank you, Parul. Thank you, Rian, for your inspiring example and story and project. We'll share all the links to AIM mentoring and make sure that we spread the good news across the community, and looking forward to see how the program evolves over the coming months and years, especially in these difficult times. And talking about difficult times, I would love to invite our next speaker, and his presentation is called Year 2020, a Turning Point for University Online Teaching and Learning. Please join me in welcoming Enoch Wong from Tsinghua University, Beijing.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Enoch Wong. First of all, thank you so much to Learning Planet Festival for a wonderful event. Secondly, a very, very happy International Day of Education. Today, I would like to share with you a MOOC, a massive open online course that we are launching today. My name is Enoch Wong. I'm from Tsinghua University. I'm the lead instructor for the MOOC, namely Year 2020, a Turning Point for University Online Teaching and Learning. Year 2020 has been nothing but extraordinary. And for Tsinghua University, it's been the same. In year 2020, our offices for online education have hosted over 126 presentations from 75 organizations in 24 countries across all continents. But of course, we have hosted many, many webinars and Zoom meetings like any other university and schools. But those 126 presentations are solely focused on exchanging ideas for university online teaching and learning. And this was all made possible because of our president, President Chou Yong from Tsinghua University. First, he was extremely determined that our spring semester should and will and had actually started on time as February 17th as scheduled. There were several quotes that he mentioned, a lot of lovely words in terms of university higher education. There are three that I'm sharing in front of you on the screen. And from there, my takeaway really is 3 points. One is that President Chou have focuses that the idea that universities should be proactive. And secondly, that teaching and learning at university should be a designed activities. It should not be spontaneous or sporadic. And more importantly, he focuses on the idea of together we are stronger. The fact that collaboration makes us stronger, international causality is what we need right now. And from the MOOC course, what we have done is that we have curated all the hundreds of presentations that we did and put it into a framework. So these are in front of you the three core objectives of the course. The course aims to introduce to learners a framework to better understand the development of online education, to provide learners online education insights and ideas from experts and practitioners from across the world, particularly during the year of 2020, and guide learners to really think about the future of online education and the new mission of higher education. That's the outline. Today, Unit 1 has been launched, and Unit 1 really covered the 3 decades of online education development. And then from Unit 2, 3, 4, 5, it really goes through the framework with experts, with practitioners from all those hundreds of presentations that I've shown you before. Last but not least, I want to quickly show you the framework that was used and I proposed as a lead instructor. And of course, we welcome tons of feedback from any practitioner, student, teachers from around the world. So before 2020, online education has been going on, and it started off with platforms, whether it is learning management system or whether it is massive open online courses. Some of those which are familiar, like edX, Coursera, Udacity, or 学堂X, etc. And of course, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, have its open courseware where they put their lectures openly available online. And then later on, the development sort of go on to, okay, now we have all those courses, but how do we use them in a pedagogical way? How do we use them in our instruction? So that's why there's really a lot of discussion around blended learning and flipped classroom. And then the development sort of go on to a lot of the managerial side, like how do we really make the most out of this online open resources or these online resources? This is where we took a deep dive into the financial sustainability side of it and offer sort of paid micro credential or online degrees. So as we have gone through, we kind of have seen that year 2020 hit us with the pandemic, but online education is nothing new. However, something that is very, very new is that online education has been very, very new for university teaching and learning. Online education has been the core of university teaching and learning for the whole entire year and still so in many, many countries and territories around the world. But when the pandemic hit us, what we have observed is that it have triggered a new focus in different areas. For example, because of technological advancement, we have started looking into things such as digital divide. And that's a very, very important issue, particularly in the International Day of Education. And then in the pedagogical side, then many faculties start looking at real-time interaction, real-time engagement, whether it's synchronously or asynchronously, and how those merge together. And last but not least, there were a lot of discussion about quality assurance. How do you evaluate? What is assessment like? So year 2020 has been really a critical year. So going beyond, there's also been a lot of conversations throughout all those hundreds of presentations that we hosted, whether it's going to be fully face-to-face, whether it's going to be hybrid, or whether it is going to be fully online. But something that have also thrown into the mix, and a lot of universities were very, very interested, is in the post-2020 agenda, more specifically the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So this is where we also saw year 2020 has been critical because of a lot of conversation. It really drives us home in the last 10 years of the 2030 agenda. So this is where in the whole entire MOOC course, we argue that year 2020 can really be a turning point. But however, whichever direction, velocity, whichever speed, this is yet to be determined. So this whole entire course in front of you is a framework that we broke the course down into different parts and how we understand it from hundreds of conversations with experts from around the world. Last but not least, I very much welcome you to go on our website, mooc.global/year-2020. That's mooc.global/year-2020. We welcome you to join the conversations of turning points for university online teaching and learning. This is something that we have learned since the very beginning, is that no one is an expert in this, and we are all in this together. So we hope to invite everyone to be a part of this conversation. We welcome a lot of feedback on our course so we can improve it for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enoch, for your presentation and an amazing initiative that you do with this MOOC and Global MOOC Alliance per general. It's exciting, and we'll make sure the link is shared within the stream and also later on with the rest of the Learning Planet community. Without further ado, now I would love to pass the mic to my colleague, Leonora Dooley, who is going to welcome the next three speakers and we continue this Launchpad stream in this fashion. Talk soon.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Leonora Dowley, the Head of Partnerships for Learning Planet, and I am joined by 3 more organizations in this Launchpad track. We have the World Teens Parliament, Earth Warriors Global, and Regenaissance. So without further ado, I will hand over to Daksh Gaur, who is from World Teens Parliament. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Namaste, people. I'm Daksh. I am joining this call all the way from India, and specifically from Udaipur in Rajasthan. That's a state in India. And I run an organization with the name of Blub World, which works on a very simple concept of teens inspiring teens. Every month, we search for teenagers who are doing inspiring work in their life and share their inspiring stories, struggles, successes with nearly 6,500 schools and somewhere around 3 to 5 lakh students across the world. In the last 6 or 7 months, where India was in a complete lockdown, we started a series of talks with school leaders and teenagers, and we have completed nearly 125 episodes of the same, where more than 1,500 school leaders from across the world participated, shared their ideas, opinions, innovations in the field of K-12 education, or to put it simply, what's new in the school space. After talking to these many people, understanding their requirements, their perceptions about things, we felt that as of now, what education needs is to figure out a new way of the teaching learning process. As humans, we are now being compared to machines. Our skills are now and must be and are supposed to be better than what a system or a computer can do. So when all this comes into play, there's only one skill that humans have which keeps them better, bigger, and more capable than all the machines in the world. If you talk about artificial intelligence, if you talk about machine learning, all of these technologies work only on past trends. They need past data to work on, and humans as a race are intuitive. So that's the biggest skill that we now need to build on, and that's where we figured out that experience would not and might not be the most critical skill in the future. So when experience is not critical and we want a lot of innovation, we'll have to go to teens to ask them and to figure it out from them. What do they think, or what are the most absurd, most impractical ideas that they have for a world? Because you don't know, in their improbability and inexperienced perception of the world, you might find a new innovation. Just with this very simple understanding, we are trying to build an organization in 2021 where we'll be talking to nearly, what I can say, 1 lakh teenagers across the globe. And how would we be doing this? We'll be doing this through a vehicle that we are calling the World Teen Parliament. India is a parliamentary democracy. So one thing that we learn from our nation is that ideas are nobody's property. They should be shared, they should be democratic, and you must have space to experiment with them. So this organization will talk to teenagers and ask them to identify local problems within their cities, within their schools, within their institutions, within their communities, and give innovative solutions to those issues. And we as a media organization will try to push those ideas, those solutions to the establishment for some positive change that changes the world for better. The focus of the World Teen Parliament is simply getting ideas, and that also from teenagers, for problems that we face on a day-to-day basis. I invite all the people who are here, who are listening to this call, or who might be listening to the recording in the coming times, if you have any teens around you, if you have any school leaders around you, talk to them, tell them that there's one more platform where they can share their ideas, which we will make sure become a reality in the coming time. I hope I was able to get through to all of you, and it was some meaningful time that you have spent with me. Thank you so much, people. Thank you so much, Learning Planet, for giving me this time. If required, I'll again be very happy to take some questions or interact more about the idea. Thank you so much, people. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Daksh. We will, I hope, have some time for questions at the end. But now I would like to hand over to Earth Warriors Global. We have Kaya Lamba, and she is joined by her colleague Shweta Bari. So over to you, Kaya.
Sorry, I just realized that I was on mute. Thank you so much. And William, if you could just start our presentation, I'd be really grateful. So while we're waiting for William to start our presentation, I can just give you a quick introduction to Earth Warriors Global. Earth Warriors is a venture that Kia and I started earlier last year to talk a little bit about, so it's a venture that we started earlier last year, which focuses on teaching young children between the ages of 3 to 7 about climate change and sustainability. So just as a brief introduction to Kia and myself, I am an education policy specialist, and I have been working in the field of education across Africa and across Asian countries over the last few years. And my co-founder, Kia, is actually a teacher by profession and is an early childhood education expert who has recently completed her master's from the Harvard School of Graduate Education last year. So what is Earth Warriors? So Earth Warriors is a social venture that aims to bring to the world the first of its kind early childhood education curriculum that teaches children about climate change and sustainability. What Kia and I found during the pandemic was actually that there is no such curriculum that currently exists to teach children about these topics, especially in this age group. Anything that we found was for children aged 7 and over. So we realized there was a gap in the market, and we realized that because the two of us are so passionate about early childhood education, this was a space that we could genuinely contribute to. So our mission is simple. If you move on to slide 3, the mission is quite simple. The mission is to build sustainable habits in young children from a really early age, so that it will make them climate positive and conscious change makers of tomorrow. So our whole logic is that if we have a play-based, solutions-focused approach, then you will be able to teach children about these complex topics in a really simple way that will not cause them any anxiety. The curriculum will also help achieve certain UN SDGs, for example, like taking climate action, ensuring equitable education for everyone, as well as having more conscious behavior. So we only started this journey 4 months ago, and we're already piloting in a school as well as with 20 parents across the globe. And I'm now going to hand over to my co-founder, Kia, to tell you a little bit more about what our curriculum actually entails.
Thanks so much, Shweta. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Why is it important to teach young kids about climate change and sustainability? So as we all know, it's really difficult to change adult behavior. But imagine if the 2 billion children who are going to inherit this planet learn sustainable habits from a young age, so it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. And the research actually backs this up. There's a lot of research that shows not only is building sustainable habits from a young age beneficial for the child themselves to then go on to protect the planet, but it also actually nudges the behavior of the adults in their life and can help the adults that they surround themselves with lead a more sustainable life as well. If we could go to the next slide, please. So Earth Warriors is built on 4 core principles. One of them that Shweta touched upon earlier is we really believe that young children can be change makers and can protect this planet and their communities. 2 is that play is a powerful tool for learning, and it's also a very age-appropriate way to teach young children about these topics. 3 is we take a solutions-oriented approach and also a connection to the real world. And 4 is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. The Earth Warriors curriculum is very much built as a universal building blocks curriculum that is meant for teachers, students, and parents to take and adapt to their local context. If we could go to the next slide, please. So what do we offer? We actually started Earth Warriors a few months ago, thinking that it would just be an in-school curriculum for teachers. However, once we launched, we received overwhelming response from parents asking about teaching these same topics to their children at home. So we launched our at-home version for parents, which, as Shweta mentioned, is being piloted currently in 6 different countries. In addition to these 2 programs, in the second half of 2021, we're also planning to sell some standalone educational products, such as books that cover these topics in a fun and exciting way, and eco-friendly, plastic-free games and toys about sustainability and climate change. And finally, Earth Warriors is more than just a curriculum. We're really trying to build a global movement where children, teachers, and parents can join Earth Warriors all over the world who are fighting to protect our planet. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this is what we teach. Earth Warriors is built in 8 easy-to-use modules. The first one is the introduction to Earth Warriors, where we really try to instill this love of nature and emotional connection with children, because as all of us who've worked with young children know, they have a huge capacity to care about other people, to care about animals, and to care about the planet. And we really want to harness this. Then they go through the rest of the modules, which touch on topics such as climate change, pollution, waste, composting, and more. And finally, as I mentioned, we really want this curriculum to be tied to their community and the real world. So they end with a community project where, as a class or with their parents and friends, they go into their community and help solve a sustainability issue. And we also teach them a little bit about early advocacy skills as appropriate, so that then when they become teenagers, they're able to do more of the systems level work as well as changing their individual behavior. If we can go to the last slide. We just wanted to say thank you all so much for this opportunity to talk about Earth Warriors. We're very early on in our journey and really excited to continue and build this movement around young children being the change makers in their communities. So if you have any interest in Earth Warriors, please get in touch with us. I believe our website is going in the chat, and we would love to hear from you. And thank you all to the Learning Planet Festival for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you very much to our presenters for taking the time to tell us about World Teens Parliament and Blood World and Earth Warriors Global. We do have time for a few questions. I have one to start us off. This one is for Kaya from Earth Warriors Global. And the question is, what was it in your life that made you want to focus on this incredible topic and dedicate so much time to it?
Thank you. That's a great question. So Shweta and I actually are both really passionate about early childhood education. I started my career as a kindergarten teacher with the Teach for America program and have been in the early years since then. And Shweta is actually really passionate about sustainability and has started her own platform called No More Waste that helps businesses in India reduce their waste. And we realized actually that while she was doing that, changing adult behavior, as we mentioned, is very difficult. And her and I had always talked about starting something in early childhood education. So we thought, why not focus on sustainability and climate change? And as we did more research, we realized that there's a lot out there in terms of teenagers and helping teenagers tackle these topics, but there really wasn't anything starting with our youngest learners. And we both feel it's so critical and so urgent for a number of reasons for kids to start learning about this at a very young age, and they really can and are able to.
Many thanks, Kaya. I will leave it here for now, and I will hand back over to my colleague Tudor, who will take us through the next 3 Launchpad sessions. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, everybody. It's Leonora again. I'm back with another Launchpad participant. This time it's Lawrence Curry-Clark, who is going to tell us about his program, Renaissance. Over to you, Lawrence.
Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to tell you the story of the Renaissance. It's the story of the era from 2020 to 2030. It's the time where the planet woke up to the great problems that it faced and started to change itself, to change the way that it related to the world, to change the way it related to each other, and gave birth once more to the spirit of play, to the spirit of the present. The regeneration of the present is the key that opened up the hearts and minds, that freed the potential that was trapped for so long in the period of COVID. So the Renaissance was born like the Renaissance from an explosion of information. In the Renaissance, there was an influx of ancient wisdom as old texts from ancient Greece and ancient Rome were recovered. In the Renaissance, this process of remembering the wisdom of the past went even deeper, went back thousands of years, went back into deep time, and was shared all over the world, interconnecting all of the traditions of wisdom. As the people woke up, they began to realize that things could be done differently, that things were blocked in the wrong places, that a new breath needed to be infused into the world. So in this period from 2020 to 2030, what did they do? How did they ensure that on that last day of 2030, they transitioned into a period of flourishing and not into a period of putrescence? Well, they began to spin a new turn. They began to celebrate life in a different way. They began to celebrate the process of learning, of every day learning something new. This new turn was a festival, a celebration of the best of the culture. And during this festival, all over the world, people would come together and celebrate their local culture. And by celebrating together all at the same time, they would synchronize into a new social rhythm and feel together, despite the great separation, the great expanses that separated them over the world. During this festival, they would revive the gift economy. They would spend a week where they would not work, and they would share their gifts, be it art, be it food, be it care. Just like in the ancient festivals in Rome and Greece. And they would play games with one another. They would play games of listening. They would play games of talking. They would play games of reconnecting, to re-establish the fundamental glue between each other, the propolis, that which comes before the polis, that which allows politics to even take place. And they would restore the commons. They would survey where the commons was lacking. They would survey where new commons could be built, new ways of sharing the burden of living, of not all being isolated, of being separated, but creating a safety net, a play net for each other, to hold each other, to hold the process of play, which was the goal of the Renaissance. The goal was to return to that free time, that free present moment that everybody deserves, where they can feel into the infinite potential of the moment and decide for themselves, now what? What is the next move? And during the turn, they would take these decisions, maintaining this playful mood, but also take decisions collectively to ensure that this net of play would remain in place for the next generation. Thank you very much.
Back, everyone. We continue with the International Launchpad session as part of the Learning Planet Festival. And we have Enoch Wang back with us for another project that they're launching at the Tsinghua University, mainly the Global Massive Online Challenge 2021. So Enoch, tell us more about this project.
Great. Thank you once again for Learning Planet Festival, and once again, many happy International Day of Education. My name is Enoch Wang. I'm from Tsinghua University. At the same time, I'm the Assistant Secretary General of the Global MOOC Alliance. The Global MOOC Alliance was launched just a little bit back a month ago in December 2020. It was launched together with 20 organizations, 17 universities, and 3 online platforms across 14 countries and 6 continents. It was the aim to promote MOOC and online education. And out of this, one of our very exciting initiative for 2021 is something called the Global MOOC, which is Global Massive Open Online Challenge. So we play on the word a little bit. We think courses may be a little bit outdated, so we wanted an open challenge. So in short, the challenge is a global competition for students, which require massive creativity, encourage open collaboration, and offer learning through online courses to help address the UN Sustainable Development Goals locally. So without further ado, I prepared roughly around a 5 to 6 minute video. This is it to wrap up my launch for the Global Massive Open Online Challenge.
So the 21st century is a very special century because today machines learn. Therefore, we cannot learn like we did, memorizing and computing only, because that's things that machines do much better than we do. And so it is important to learn together to meet the challenges of our times, not only the technical challenges, but also the environmental challenges and the societal challenges. The United Nations is creating 17 main challenges, the Sustainable Developmental Goals, that we all have to face. And in order to face those challenges, we have to learn to collaborate. So it's not enough to learn to compete with one another on yesterday knowledge, as most education systems are training us for. We have to learn to start from the problems of today and collectively build the solutions of tomorrow. And this is possible at a local scale, where we can start collaborating, integrating different perspectives, different disciplines, to be able to do adequate solutions for local challenges. But as we have global challenges, we have to learn to collaborate at scale, on a global scale. And that means we have to use technologies. And we have today new digital tools that can enable us to learn from one another wherever we are, anytime we want. And that's amazing, but we have to build maybe a new generations of technologies. Not only a technology that passively transmits information, but technology that can help us to know what we know and discover what it is that we should know in order to progress. Technologies like a GPS for learning, and maybe even a GPS of dreams, that can tell us where we are in learning space and in dream space, and where are the others, and maybe discover that we are not alone in what we want to learn or in what we are dreaming of, so that we can start collaborating together to be able to do things together that we could not do alone, like solve the problems for the planet and be able to address the Sustainable Developmental Goals that the United Nations has defined and has invited all of us to contribute to.
Our generation has the responsibility to ensure we take care of oneself, others, and the planet. According to a recent UN report, the COVID-19 pandemic has erased or suspended progress on nearly all the Sustainable Development Goals. Global school closures have kept 90% of students globally, which is 1.57 billion youths out of the classroom, potentially derailing their education. As schools and universities recover and revitalize education, we also have the power and responsibilities to mobilize students to work together creatively and get us back on track for the 2030 agenda. We must ensure inclusive and equitable quality education for all and promote lifelong learning opportunities. Therefore, we invite you to challenge yourself, collaborate with others, and create a better planet for this generation and beyond. With great excitement, we invite you to join the Global Massive Open Online Challenge.
What is Global Massive Open Online Challenge, GMOOC?
It is initiated by the Global MOOC Alliance, but this much more than just a MOOC. Let me share with you the what, why, when, and how of the challenge. The C in the challenge is comprised of 4 C's: competition, creativity, collaboration, courses, and they represent 4 different components of the initiative. In short, the challenge is a global competition for students, which requires massive creativity, encourages open collaboration, and offers learning through online courses to help address the sustainable development goals locally.
Why should the students join the challenge?
There are over 100 reasons. Let me give you 3. 1. Students will have access to free online MOOC courses on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and on Leadership Skills Workshop. 2. Outstanding teams will also get additional funding and guidance to pilot their projects locally. 3. Did I mention that the winning teams will also receive awards and recognition from UNESCO on the International Day of Education 2022, January 24th too?
When is the challenge?
The year-long challenge was officially launched during the Learning Planet Festival, co-organized by CRI and UNESCO on the International Day of Education 2021. Application to join the challenge will be opened until May 2021.
Oh wow, this challenge is so cool. So, how can I get involved?
Visit https://mooc.global/challenge for more information and apply now.
Cool. Thank you once again to the Learning Planet Festival platform allowing us to launch this initiative. We invite everyone to get in touch, to get involved with the Global Massive Open Online Challenge. You can find out more information at mooc.global/challenge. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, for this amazing initiative, and we're looking forward to 24th of January 2022 to see the results of this challenge and many projects that the students will launch throughout the year. Now, I would love to pass the mic to Joanna from Life Project for Youth to present their new e-learning platform.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna Denouveau. I'm Digital Project Manager in LP4Y. LP4Y, Life Project for Youth, is a non-profit organization created in 2009, specialized in the development of innovative solutions for the professional and social integration of excluded youth living in extreme poverty in 6 Asian countries and Lebanon. The young adults by a team of 17 to 20 are accompanied by a coach and daily follow the professional training for entrepreneurs, a 9 months, 6 months, or 3 months of training program regarding the pedagogy based on a learning by doing trainings pedagogy, followed by 3 months of support to employment. Me, I'm leading a lot of digital projects, and one of the projects is Digital Inc. Digital Inc. is a platform which keeps connection between the young people who are victims of exclusion, the LP4Y ecosystem, and the corporate world. It allows e-learning trainings from anywhere and encourages the professional inclusion of youth. There is main objectives for this platform. The first one is connect to the other youth. The second one is giving them access to a career management space. The third one is connect to the professional world, and then to broaden the impact of LP4Y and enable sharing of knowledge to anyone from anywhere. These trainings could be live trainings, professional trainings, personal development trainings. On this platform, there is more than 150 trainings, and they are all created by corporate partners and volunteers from LP4Y between April and December 2020. We launched this platform the 11th of December 2020 in our center in Delhi. At this moment, the youth are doing a training, a digital ink moment, half a day a week, or they can do the training and all the briefing together. Since the creation of LP4Y, the access to the digital is the main point for the professional integration of youth. And since 1 year and a half, we established a digital strategy. It's really important for the youth to have a smartphone, because without smartphone, there is no communication, and without communication, there is no network. And the steps of this digital strategy is first to install a communication room in every center. Second step is to create a digital identity for every youth, meaning email address and giving them access to a drive to stock their professional documents. And the third step is the development of digital ink platform. It permits to increase their empowerment. Our next perspectives is to make digital ink as an efficient and collaborative tool for all LP4Y ecosystem, and of course to allow remote trainings to broaden our impact and reach more young people. Now we're gonna see the testimony of Niraj, a youth from Delhi in India, who terminated the LP4Y program and who used this platform. Can you please launch this video? Thank you.
My name is Niraj Kumar. I am 22 years old and I am from Delhi, capital of India. There are 7 members in my family, and I don't have my father. My brother is working and I am teaching some student. My mom is housewife. I have diploma in HTML basic web designing, and I have one certificate of Tally computer. It's accountant work when someone wants to work as accountant or cashier, and I have a basic computer certificate also. My professional goal is to become a teacher. For that, I am taking study, like I am taking some classes. I am doing study also. Soon I will have exam, so I am preparing myself. My financial situation, if I talk about, like in 2-3 years before, I was not able to take admission in college because of financial problem, and that's why I wanted to join LP4Y, that I will save some money and then I will take admission in a college. So I did it. Now it's working well because my one brother is working, but it's only getting half salary of his full salary every month because of COVID-19. But I am teaching some students, so I save some money and I give to my family also for managing. So now it's going well, but if my brother will get full salary, it will be very good for us. During COVID-19, I was staying home because my family doesn't want to give permission to go outside, and I wanted to go outside to play cricket, everything, but my friend also was staying at home. So I was only I started to teach myself for English or math to improve myself, because I wanted to open my center. During lockdown, I think in my mind that I will open this. That's why I was preparing myself every day. I find some time to learn, and also I spend some time with my family to learning cooking or doing something with my family to fun. In my phone, I use normally like YouTube first and WhatsApp more. Then Facebook and Google Pay is really important for me, because sometimes when I don't have money and I have to pay something, so I use Google Pay to pay by electronic, like the direct from my account. Also YouTube when I want to learn something or I want to understand some questions, and also Google, only Chrome, because whenever I want to improve, find some translate words, Google. So I use Google Translate and also sometimes Google Chrome to find the word meaning. Using phone and computer, they both really helpful for me in my personal life, because professional life also, because I am giving classes, I am teaching some students. I learn from YouTube also, and when I was starting to learning English, I was not able to speak in English. I most of the time learn from YouTube. I watch videos, and whenever I want to improve, like write some stories or work on Excel, I use computer to improve my skills, to make my resume, prepare my resume for any job interview, or help anyone to make them teach them how to make your professional resume. It's really helpful for me both. 360 learning, it's helped me in my professional life because when I using this, I learn some grammar tips and grammar questions which was new for me, and now I am using this to give classes to my students. It's helping me a lot. Yes, I am really happy in my life because my family is really good. They all time support me. When I wanted to open my center, my family support me that I can do, and I opened my center. It's working also well. And also LP4Y, whenever I want to give trainings, there is a permission to give. I like my hobbies to teach and give some advices. So I have this freedom to do. That's why I am so happy in my life. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to explain something about my feelings or about my experience. And I am so happy with this.
Hi again, everyone. Thank you for your participation. If you need any information, do not hesitate to watch out to the website LP4Y. I will send you, I will write down the website just in the chat, or to send me an email, joanna.delumo@lp4y.org, and I will put the email address in the chat as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanna, for this exciting initiative. We'll make sure the links are on the YouTube stream, on the festival platform, and people can follow up to engage with your project and hopefully create something meaningful together with you. Now I will give the mic to Eric and Irina from CRI Paris, and their project that they present today is the Learning Planet Open Campus. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Tudor. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric. I'm CRI's Chief Information Officer. So we want to talk to you today about an ecosystem we're developing to support learning, and especially project-based learning. So we have created a platform that is meant to be used by hundreds of thousands of users all over the world. And the idea is to share projects, whether you are a researcher, a student, an NGO member, you probably work on multiple projects that you want to share, which are related to sustainable development goals from the United Nations. So to explain a bit more, we'll first start with a short video presentation of the product.
We created the projects platform to enable any user to share and develop projects related to sustainable development goals. In our platform, you can get inspired by current and past projects when browsing them, by using our artificial intelligence-based recommendation, by using our geographic map, or by exploring them by their themes in our tag map. You can create your own project in only a few minutes and have a nice visual overview. A project can contain a rich description, sustainable development goals that it tackles, advancement goals. It can contain blog entries to document the progress. You can also insert resources that are external to the project. You document the team members, and there is a comments section so that users of the same community can interact with you on your project. Teachers can create templates to ensure that students fill the project according to their requirements. They can also review students' projects easily and authorize their publication. If you are willing to gather and showcase projects of an entire community, you can ask for an instance of projects. You can personalize with the identity of your community, with a logo, image, and even categories to sort the projects. There is an administration panel that lets you do these functions easily. If you want to integrate any project onto your WordPress website, you can just copy-paste the URL and have a nice output. This is the main entry point to projects. You first see an overview of all your projects, then instances of all communities that we host, announcements from projects that seek contributions, and the list of all projects. This tool is meant to be very user-friendly and engaging. It covers a broad range of use cases, and you're welcome to explore it and ask to join. Hi everyone, I'm Irina Nikolaeva. I'm product manager at the team, and I'm developing this product. So we would like to complement the video by explaining the different use cases that we already have on our platform. So in the first slide, you see some projects that have been done by students within the CRE. So teachers use it to follow up on internships, and students are really happy to have a means to communicate about their internships. They use a lot blog posts throughout the internships to document the progress, and teachers follow up and give reviews on internships. Whenever an internship is close to an end, they're able to also allow the students to make the internship project public. So that's one scenario. Another thing that students do is that they have associations or clubs, and they document what they are doing within it. So it's a really nice means of communication for them. Then on the next slide, we have the S'Aventurier community. So it's an association that helps teachers to implement in their class projects that are constructed as research projects, so that students of all ages can be more familiar with the research-like methodology. So here you see a project. It's around rainbows, and students here, for instance, use the recruitment page to ask participants to give them photos of rainbows, and they documented the project, and then they studied all the photos of rainbows, and it's a really cute and nice project. Actually, the students were very young. They were 4 and 5. And it's the teacher who documented, described first the project, and then in the blog documented the steps. So it's really for all ages. And in the next slide, it's a community of teachers who use the tool to collaborate on the different questions that they have around pedagogy and teaching. So there are some challenges that they define as a question. So it can be how to teach while being far from class, so distance teaching. It can be how to deal with the difficult students who mess up all the class. And then the different teachers can suggest a solution that they tried and then give feedback on this solution. So in the end, the idea is that it will be a big community where many teachers will give different responses and give different feedbacks to the same types of actions. And the community is growing a lot. So this is kind of a citizen science project for a teacher community. And to wrap up, on the next slide, we are right now building a skills infrastructure so that the different users can define what skills they have, what skills they used in different projects, what they want to progress on, so that there is a network that can be built in between the people who have some knowledge, people who need some knowledge, and maybe find participants to projects, find help, or find opportunities to learn. So in the final slide, you see the URL of our main entry point, projects.directory. You're welcome to browse it and do contact We us to created create the an projects account or platform even to to enable open any a user. personalized instance for your own community. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Enoch. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Irina and Eric, for all your projects. We're looking forward to continue the discussion in the chat. So please join us there throughout the day. See if there are any questions, and if there is an opportunity to share like the links to your websites, to more information, that will be very much welcomed. Now we'll play a short placeholder video while I pass the mic to my colleague Leonora, and we welcome the next segment of free new initiatives. Thank you very much.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Launchpad. I am joined by Holly Everett from Reboot the Future, Jonathan Porritt, who is an environmentalist and author, and Rania Lampu from the Greek Ministry of Education, who are going to talk to us about their initiatives. So, Holly, over to you.
Great, thanks Leonora. Thank you as well to everyone at the Learning Planet. So today I'm going to be talking about Reboot the Future's teaching platform called Global Dimension. I've got some slides that I'll kind of hopefully talk you through just to give you a bit of a picture of what the website looks like. So if we could have a look at the first one, it just gives you a picture of our home screen. So Global Dimension is the UK's leading global learning platform. It supports a community of educators bringing global connection, compassion and conversation to life in their classrooms. We are relaunching it today. The website has been around for quite a while now, but it's got a brand new makeover and we wanted to share that with you. Global Dimension is powered by Reboot the Future. We're a small foundation and our vision is of a compassionate and sustainable world, powered by conversation and connection with the golden rule at its core. So for those of you who are sort of unfamiliar with the golden rule, it's this idea that we should treat others and the planet as we would like to be treated. And at heart, that's a rule of compassion and connection that calls us to connect with ourselves, with each other and the world around us. And so for us, it's really important to be bringing global learning to the classroom so we can encourage our children and young people to recognize the role they play as citizens of a global community and to give them the confidence to work towards that increasingly compassionate and sustainable future that we all want to see. As a website, Global Dimension brings together a calendar of global events and a vast library of resources which explore issues from climate breakdown to migration and democracy, as I say, empowering educators to introduce global learning into their classroom. It's also a space for teachers to connect and discuss the issues that matter the most. Through educating young people about their relationships to others and the planet, we can teach them to understand and respect difference, identify their rights and responsibilities, and think critically about their impact as global citizens so that they have the skills, the values, the motivation that they need for a sustainable world. We know that social and environmental issues are escalating, becoming more and more discussed in the world around us and in the media. So we want to nurture compassionate values so that young people can work together to kind of create this future that they want to see. So I want to talk you now through what's new on the site. So if we can go on to slide 2, this gives you the first look at what is different here. So the first thing that we've changed is that we now have the option to personalize your homepage. What that means is that when you create your account, you can select the ages, the subjects, and the topics that you teach, and that allows us to share the most relevant resources with you directly to your homepage. Slide 3 shows you our new in-focus topics. So in-focus topics are various articles which feature relevant and topical news events that are happening right now. And they basically provide a bit of advice about how you can approach those news topics, what you can do, how you can connect them to your curriculum. And they also provide resources that help you to teach those topics in your classroom as well. If we go on to the next slide, we also have a discussion section, which allows you to react to these topics in your classroom, not just in your classroom, but also with other teachers. It's a forum platform which is provided by Discuss, and they allow teachers to just talk to each other about what's going on in their classroom. As I mentioned before, we also have a calendar, which is the next slide. We also have a library of resources, and we're constantly adding new resources to this library. So if you're a publisher of resources that tie into the SDGs, or you have any resources, then you can share those with us. Please do get in touch. We do love to have new resources constantly on the website. So I'm just skipping through now. In fact, time goes so quickly on these things. So actually don't worry about any more slides. I just wanted to end by saying supporting our teaching community is our absolute priority. So we want to be providing great resources, great events, and we wanted to really celebrate our relaunch today. So we've actually got an event later on today as part of the Learning Planet Festival. It's a discussion panel, it's on at 5 p.m. And it's looking at how teachers can support student action on the climate crisis, even in lockdown. I also just want to take the time to introduce our next speaker, Jonathan Porritt, who is our fantastic co-collaborator. He's an environmentalist and author, and he's going to be speaking next about his new book and the exciting new campaign that we're working on together with Reboot the Future called How Will You Reboot the Future? So thank you.
When the United Nations launched its climate change campaign in June last year, it called it the race to zero. And by that, it meant the race to net zero emissions by 2050 across the entire global economy. And it's a good name for people to focus on, because what it tells us is that this isn't actually a race between different nations here on planet Earth. We really are all in this together when it comes to climate change, but it is a race against time. And that is because everything is quickening all around us. I often wake up in the morning and think about the ways in which the planet is showing us even more starkly month by month, just how quickly things are changing and how quickly our lives are now being impacted by climate change. But at the same time, our response to that is quickening. We're actually beginning to see a much greater sense of urgency, whether that is through civil society organizations involved in a host of different campaigning and educational initiatives, whether it's through commitments from the business community, a lot of big companies now committed to net zero before 2050, or even in the declarations of governments, China committing to net zero by 2060, for instance, last year. And most encouragingly of all, of course, the degree to which we can now look to America to assume something of a leadership role in this whole race to zero through the election of President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, whose election campaign was very strongly characterized by a commitment to addressing climate change, a $2 trillion investment program to address every aspect of the climate challenge, and to do it in a way that speaks to the need for increased social justice in America, with a significant percentage of that investment going to disadvantaged communities. So this quickening is what makes 2021 such an important year. Now, every year in the climate story is an important year, but this is a particularly important year with COP26, the Conference of the Parties, at the end of the year, and a whole host of different initiatives now funneling towards that big moment, including initiatives from young people. Strikes for Friday, the initiative first inspired by Greta Thunberg back at the end of 2018, has just announced the first global strike for 2021 on March the 19th. But what a contrast it is for young people thinking about their climate activism in 2021 in comparison to what they were able to do in 2019, where the momentum achieved by young people across the world was extremely influential in shifting political opinions. That was the context in which I wrote Rise Up, because I was thinking all the time about what this must feel like for young people, how difficult it is for them to get their heads around what is entailed in accelerating climate change, and how easy it is to fall into a state of complete despair. So Rise Up is a short book. It is written through the words of three 20-year-olds, looking back from 2025. So it's not written today, in 2021. It's looking back from 2025, not just to show how much progress we made in the intervening years, but how central young people were to that change process. They're not accidental bystanders, just passively involved watching adults continue to make a pretty ham-fisted job of it. But they are absolutely at the heart of the changes that happen between now and 2025. Now, since then, Reboot the Future has got much more involved in all of this in a joint initiative now, Rise Up to Reboot the Future, involving the book, involving some films, 5 short films, which can either be seen separately or together, and a whole host of educational resources, which will enable teachers to contextualize a lot of what the book and the film is talking about, to be used either in the classroom or for remote learning purposes. And we think that's an absolutely critical part of this. So this is a very interesting, ambitious, integrated set of initiatives to bring this through into the classroom through the whole of 2021. It's a pretty important initiative for me too. I first got involved in all this back in 1974 when I first started out in green politics. And I also started out in 1974 as a teacher in a West London comprehensive. And it's a bit extraordinary for me now, thinking back on nearly 50 years, that things have come full circle, because much of my work today is focused on young people and how they see the world and the ways in which we are going to need to think very differently about the contribution that young people make to this climate emergency. That's what makes Rise Up to Reboot the Future so absolutely crucial, because all of us as educators in one way or another, we all have a very special responsibility to act now as stewards, not just stewards of the planet, stewards of life on Earth, as it were, but stewards of these young people's future. And I think it is now absolutely crucial that we understand that we can't just do this with more business as usual. We have to do this very differently. We have to both inform, of course, but also we have to empower young people so that they can get more involved and feel heartened as they get involved, acting as some kind of antidote against the despair that otherwise descends too easily upon them. That challenge is critical, helping them come to an understanding of their own all-important role in addressing today's climate emergency. That's what makes this so exciting for all of us.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. That was really inspiring. We've got a question from our audience, if that's all right with you. Somebody has said you wrote an article about 6 months ago saying that if the government plots a green recovery from coronavirus, the benefits are endless. And it would be great to hear perhaps your top advice, either for the government or for us, on how to benefit from what many people have experienced as a total disaster.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for the question, because unfortunately, it's a very mixed picture around the world at the moment. We all had a hope that governments would put a lot of their rebuilding investments into the low carbon economy, into protecting the natural world, into all of the things we know need to happen now as urgently as possible. It hasn't really happened like that. The figures show us that roughly 2/3 of the money that has gone into propping up economies has gone into the economy of the past, as it were, into carbon intensive industries and so on, and only 1/3 into this low carbon economy of the future. But that can still change. And we're very hopeful that it will change, because governments need to create jobs for millions of people all around the world, including millions of young people. And that can only be done by investment in the green economy, in terms of retrofitting existing housing, for instance. In many countries, housing is in a very poor state. In terms of investments in new skilled jobs in green energy, renewable energy, in terms of investment in nature itself, nature conservation, actually working to heal the damage that we've done over so many decades. So these things are all still available to governments, and let us hope that in 2021 they do a better job on building back better than they did in 2020.
Thank you very much. Thank you both to you and Holly for joining us today to talk about Reboot the Future, the Global Dimension platform, and Rise Up. I hope that you will continue to join us through the rest of the day, and we look forward to Reboot the Future's live session later. I'd like to hand over now to Rania Lampu, who's from the Greek Ministry of Education, who is saying SOS because we are changing the climate of the Earth. Over to you, Rania.
Greetings from Greece. I'm very honored to be today a part of this so enriching, resourceful, and meaningful event. My name is Rania Labu. I'm a STEM instructor and an ICT teacher trainer, and currently I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education at the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovation. Today I will present a new STEM project I designed for Greek primary schools, which will be launched by the Greek Ministry of Education. It's actually a program that combines environmental education, STEM education, and arts. Obviously, I was inspired by the current economic and social crisis that invites us to discuss about sustainable innovation or environmental innovation on a basis for a new economical social education paradigm. May I share my presentation? So, first, I would like to briefly introduce myself and my work. I'm a global educator, STEM instructor, as I said, an ICT teacher trainer, a neuroeducation researcher, and author of scientific book for kids and a global peace ambassador in Greece. I have been awarded many national and international prizes, so far 40, and I'm a Global Teacher Prize finalist and Global Teacher Award winner. Furthermore, I am the founder and the national coordinator of 5 innovative international projects that focus on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals described in the 2030 Agenda and implemented mostly in Africa and India. I promote STEM vision by introducing STEM in astronomy and physics projects and combine STEM with language teaching. Currently, I'm a STEM instructor at the Greek Astronomy and Space Company, and I'm also working at the Greek Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs, where I write STEM projects for Greek schools. Recently, I wrote a new STEM project on a national level for Greek primary schools, which will be launched by the Greek Ministry of Education, which is called SOS, We're Changing the Earth's Climate. It is addressed to primary school students. The duration of the program is 4 weeks, 3 hours per week. It is an interdisciplinary STEM project that aims to raise children's awareness of the climate change that has been observed in recent decades in the world. It combines environmental education, STEM education, and arts. Environmental education is grounded in the belief that if individuals learn how to make informed decisions, they will do so. So environmental education is further rooted in the belief that humans can live compatibly with nature and act equitably toward each other. Another fundamental belief is that people can make informed decisions that consider future generations and reflect changing circumstances. Environmental education is related to sustainable development. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Here we see the combination of environmental education and STEM education. Why STEM? Because STEM focuses on inquiry and student-led investigation through open-ended real problems and hands-on activities, empowering students to become out-of-the-box thinkers and creators. Apart from environmental education, which aims for a more democratic, inclusive society in which effective environmentally literate community members possess a sense of empowerment and agency, and that way they could participate with creativity and responsibility, we need also STEM educated students. Why? What are the main attributes of a STEM student? They are problem solvers, they're innovators, they're inventors, they're self-reliant, logical thinkers, and logically literate. Very recently, arts have been incorporated into STEM teaching, so we talk about STEAM. STEAM is an interdisciplinary approach that aims to promote research spirit, logical thinking, and social skills. Emphasis is placed on empirical and exploratory discovery learning, autonomy, and active participation of students through trial and errors in a series of interactive projects that incorporate the 5 fields of STEAM. Why STEAM? Because STEAM prepares young people for the future, as STEAM learning is framed in the daily life of young people outside the classroom. STEM provides students with confidence and competence to function effectively as informed citizens that can participate in democratic civic decision-making. So these capabilities need to be developed in people from an early age. Why art and science? Because it's important to highlight how arts could make the science more complete, and what can we learn and take from the arts that might improve the teaching and learning of science. Art and science complete each other. Art and science shape culture, and culture shapes how individuals judge the world. So my program focuses on 5 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals: quality education, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Children will have the opportunity to learn. Here we can see the 5 thematic axes: climate zones of the Earth, natural factors that affect climate in place, anthropogenic factors that influence climate in all parts of the world, and proposals to reverse the negative impact of climate change. So students will have the opportunity to learn about the climatic zones of the Earth and the natural factors that determine the climate of a place. They will get acquainted with the various ways in which humans intentionally or unintentionally affect the Earth's environment, and especially its climate. In this way, children will realize their own involvement and responsibility towards climate problems, and will cultivate this creativity to find solutions for a world without environmental problems. So through the proposed activities of the program, students will have the opportunity to experiment, create, and collaborate, utilizing experiential, exploratory, discovery learning methods, collaborative approach, and using digital tools, even computational thinking. Teachers and students will be able to solve authentic problems and express themselves artistically. What are the main objectives? Learn, of course, about the factors that influence Earth's climate, understand there are natural and anthropogenic factors that influence climate, examine the solutions proposed by scientists, get involved in authentic problem-solving processes, strengthen their environmental awareness, develop the critical thinking, cultivate the creativity, develop communication skills, be aware of human interventions that negatively affect the climate, understand how important it is to find solutions, to realize that solutions can come from non-environmentalists also. So try to think of ways to protect the Earth's climate, and realize that we all have a big responsibility to protect the Earth's climate. So there are many, I can give you an example of some activities that I have included in my program. Experiments to simulate weather phenomena that occur in Greece and other places, measurements of temperature, pressure, humidity, and other weather parameters. Building a mini meteorological station, or references to history, to ancient Greek myths, and artistic activities, arts and crafts. Obviously, we're talking about a holistic approach, an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach. Finally, it's a project that highlights environmental issues, informs and sensitizes teachers and students about the phenomenon of climate change, and cultivates the concept of active citizenship. So through this program, students are encouraged to deal systematically with scientific and environmental issues from an early age, thus enhancing their social sensitivity, their ecological consciousness, and their environmental responsibility. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, I am at your disposal.
Thank you very much, Rania, for that. And thank you very much to all of our Launchpad speakers so far. I've been delighted to see so many teachers and former teachers joining us. We will share links to these initiatives in the chat on the festival platform and on YouTube. And we hope that we will all continue the conversation throughout the live chat and through the live events later in the day. Please don't forget that Reboot the Future have an event later today at 5 p.m. CET. So thank you very much to Holly, Jonathan, and Rania for sharing their work with us. I will pass over to Tudor, who will be back with you shortly with our next Launchpad initiatives. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We continue our Launchpad session where we welcome more than 20 exciting initiatives all around the world, from books, new learning programs, reports, e-learning platforms, MOOCs, and so on. And I'm excited to present the next initiatives in this session, starting with Anna Pons from OECD, who is going to present the OECD Global Teaching Insights. Anna, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Tudor, and thank you to all the organizers of this exciting learning festival. It's a pleasure for me to welcome everyone to this session and to the launch of the Global Teaching Insights, a new OECD initiative to make quality teaching practices visible. What is the Global Teaching Insights? It's global. We cater to the world and we want to support teachers from all around the world. It's about teaching. So it's about everything that has to do with teaching and the classroom. And it's about insights. So it's really about that practical tacit knowledge that it's very hard to share across borders. So why do we want to make teaching visible from all around the world? First, because we've realized through our TAVIS survey, which teachers from 48 different countries replied to, that very few teachers have opportunities to observe how their peers teach. In France or Spain, the country where I'm from, this is less than 1/3 of the teachers. And at the same time, evidence and researchers for a long time have taught us that observing teaching can be one of the most effective ways to improve teaching practices, because teachers are able to observe in a tangible way what others do. They can find inspiration. They can discover new ways of doing things, or they can simply affirm themselves in their own judgments on how to teach and what to do in the classroom in the face of different student reactions. Observing teaching is very powerful to improve one's teaching, but observing different ways of teaching is even more powerful to discover other ways of teaching. And what we found through other studies like PISA, that you might know, that test student knowledge in 80 different countries, is that teachers around the world teach in very different ways. And we have today no means to exchange, to create a global dialogue about teaching and about what teaching practices work best in which context and in different circumstances. So what we want to do with the Global Teaching Insights is to really a new type of conversation, a new type of professional dialogue about teaching, a type of dialogue that it's tangible and that it's for teachers and developed by teachers and built by teachers. So I do invite teachers from all around the world to visit our website, globalteachinginsights.org, to see how teachers in other countries teach and to share their own insights on how would they go about that type of practices. They will be able to see teachers from Japan, for example, encouraging students to think about multiple ways of reasoning. We have prepared a short video to show you what the platform is about. And I would also like to announce that very soon we are going to release videos that teachers themselves have submitted on how they have changed their practices during this COVID crisis, how they are now collaborating with peers during the crisis, and what is the future of teaching that they are envisioning. We've done together with UNESCO and the International Teacher Task Force a crowdsourcing campaign where teachers from different countries have shared their insights, and the campaign is now closed, but I do invite you to go on the site and hear about what the peers have done. We've prepared a short video. I don't know whether we could play it now.
Hello and welcome to the Global Teaching Insights by the OECD, a digital platform for building and sharing teaching expertise. Here, you can visit classrooms from around the world across a range of settings and contexts. Teaching is organized into 6 areas of practice, such as this one, Classroom Talk, where we can see a range of ways that teachers try to promote a rich dialogue in the classroom. For example, this teacher from Colombia, who begins their lesson by inviting the class to pause, reflect, and discuss on how they should conduct themselves as young citizens. He empowers students to bring their own lived experiences into the classroom and values students learning from each other. Each video immerses you into an authentic classroom. We offer a few viewing hints as well as the background context of the video. We also offer the ability to choose the language of the subtitles that you would like to watch the video in. There is also the possibility to engage with your peers. You can pose questions, and you can even comment on specific timestamps in the video. In the platform, there are also our observation tools, which can spur formative learning and professional dialogue through observation. You will also find our survey, which invites teachers to share their experience of teaching during crises using questions from the PISA 2022 cycle. It is available in different languages and serves as a way for teachers to get their voices heard. Indeed, the Global Teaching Insights is designed to be a professional tool that empowers teachers and helps the profession to raise its voice, fuel its collaboration, and build its expertise. There is therefore also our Education During COVID-19 space, which hosts the campaign the OECD ran with UNESCO and the International Teacher Task Force to gather ideas and innovations in teaching. Here, you can see videos of teachers from around the world sharing their insights on what the future of education means to them. We look forward to seeing you in the Global Teaching Insights soon.
So I would like to end this presentation by encouraging all of you to visit the site, to engage with the videos, to share your own insights. And if you want to contribute, if you have resources to add, if you would like to engage by being a curator, by helping us translate and making materials more accessible to other countries, do let us know. We will be happy to count on you and to collaborate with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Exciting resource and platform. We will share the link in the chat, and following the festival, I'm sure a lot of teachers and the education community at large will find it relevant and interesting. Now I would love to pass the mic to Sophie Gillan, who's going to present us the initiative called Transform You, co-founded by CRI and Res Publica. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Tudor. And hello to everybody. And thank you very much for this invitation to present the project we share with the CRI. If we stay a little on that first slide, because I have a few things to tell you first. The program we want to talk to you about is offering tools to transform the university and using collective intelligence and trying to reach and offering to reach the sustainable development goals of the UN. We've heard a lot about those goals this morning, and this project intends to gather the community of the universities and HEIs around the axis of the Sustainable Development Goals and the European Universities Initiatives. So that students, teachers, head of universities, others actors of the territories could be brought together and discuss the way they want to change the institution and the learning. So the purpose is to think about how to better prepare the students to face global issues and how to teach, how to learn together, introducing collaboration and in our ways of working inside the universities still and to respond to the same global issues. So the idea of the project is to offer an easy to use format to deliberate and to prioritize efficient transformation. This program is at its beginning. It's partly financed by Climate Kick, the European network working on climate issues with European universities. And it's also financed by some universities in France and Europe, which are partners of the launching phase. It is developed by the CRI, our host of the Learning Planet Festival, and my company, Res Publica, which is specialized in collective intelligence on environmental issues. We are actually involved, Res Publica, in conceiving the French Climate Citizen Assembly and also in charge of its facilitation. So with the CRI, we share the conviction that participation is the way to find solution on of the different crises we are facing, and in particular in the fields of sustainable development. And also that university has a responsibility in forming citizenship. So that's where our program or project begins. And if you want to pass to the second slide, to tell you how we structured some tools to help the deliberation on strategic changes in universities. Those tools, they are intended to help identify needs, to help building priorities and build concrete actions inside the university. There is a participation toolkit to organize online or face-to-face workshop, and a platform device, J'en-Parle, which is developed by Res Publica. Both of them, the participation kit and the platform device, they respond to a thematic call for ideas. They help to respond to this thematic call for ideas. Each institution determines the topics of the debate of the call for ideas. Some are already proposed in the kit. We'll check them later on. But each university can also choose to involve some specific thematics and choose to treat them with all stakeholders or only some of them: students, teachers, deans, administrators, researchers, and even external stakeholders. So the idea is to find at the end, with all those presential and distance workshop, to find solutions and help working with the community to address the topics and the issues you want to resolve to face the future. So if we pass to the next slide, how does it work? Whoever I am, I can be students or a collective. I can participate to transform my university by downloading the participation kit. With that kit, I can organize a collective deliberation, and it gives me the kit methods and tools and different sheets to organize and facilitate face-to-face or online workshops. Then the results of those workshops, I would upload them on the platform and share them with other actors and other stakeholders. And whoever I am as well, I can vote and comment the ideas, the proposals coming from the workshops. So at the end of the process, you will have a mapping of the priorities and all the interesting comments about them. And that mapping, there is a small image on your screen, but if you want a demonstration about the platform, I'll talk to you about it later. But you would have at the end of the process, the mapping of all the ideas, and the colors, they would show the topics of the ideas, and the size of the bubbles of the topics shows the importance of the topics for the community and the numbers of ideas and comments on those ideas. So if we pass to the slide 4, you can consider that the program is an help to co-construct strategic responses to your issues. And if we have a quick look over the topics to address, we've already defined some of them. They are chosen from the European Universities Initiative recommendation and from the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. But the idea is that on the actual startup phase, we add the effective issues important to the pilot cohorts, the different universities entering the project. The experience that we hope to gain from the pilot cohort will allow in a second phase to the deployment of the method on a national, European, and then international scale, even if already yet we have some international universities interested in the project. The topics can help to reflect on the virtualization of the teaching. So you have a list of those topics at the beginning of the project right now. They can help on changing teaching, ways of learning, ways of conducting research, of how introducing more transversality, changing from top down to collaborative learning environment. Things that we've heard a lot about yet this morning. The idea is also to search ideas to foster student inclusion and participation, to promote professional and civic experiences and so on. So I'm reaching the end of my presentation. And if you want just to have an idea of this process, it is designed to be implemented in autonomy. So every university could use it for its own and using the kit, the platform, and have its own deliberation, or with the supports of its designer, the CRI and Res Publica. But the idea is very well the autonomy. So downloading the kit and find all the information for the structure to conduct the deliberation, and also seeing and viewing with what is going on in other universities, what are the issues they are having, and how do they find response to them. So there is the idea, after all, to have a common platform to share those experiences. And now, if you want to know more about and check the tools, the platform, we will be presenting them this afternoon at 2 in the up session with the CRI. And we'll be very glad to hear your comments and respond to our questions, because we are sure that there would be some. So voilà, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophie. This session has been so incredible that at many points I wanted to just press pause and go on your websites and check your toolkits and all of this. But we have many more initiatives that follow. And now I would love to welcome Mario Biagini from the Constellations Online community to present his initiative. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for this opportunity in these strange times. I don't know if you hear me well, because there's a tempest here. Yeah, very good. I put in the chat, Tudor, the different links related to our work. We are a theater company which was founded by a Polish theater director, Jerzy Grotowski, in '86. And since the beginning, our work has been to apply arts, theater arts, to the development of the human being. And Peter Brook used an expression to describe our work, art as vehicle. Now, inside the Work Center, we are about, our group is called Work Center of Jerzy Grotowski and Thomas Richards. And we are about 25 people from all over the world, from different continents. We are based in Italy, but only 2 of us are Italian. And in the last 10 years, especially with one of the groups that compose the Work Center, the open program, which I direct, we have been looking for ways to somehow find a meaning in theater practice in greater society. And in 2019, we launched a quite crazy project, and we gathered in a place in Turkey, in the countryside near Ephesus, in Şirince, which is a place built by a group of friends of us, Turkish friends. It's called the Teatro Medresesi. We launched a huge meeting of young people from all over the world. We were able to bring together about 150 people from India, Korea, Colombia, different countries in Europe, from Australia, from everywhere. We found, and it was a non-for-profit initiative, as everything we do. And so it was open to all. Some people helped to pay for the expenses. We found some other money from foundations, and so for some people we were able to pay all their expenses. So it was a great challenge, because the idea was to bring together a lot of young people around theater arts, but not only, about many different disciplines, from psychology to philosophy to mask making, and to gather them in this place for 3 weeks without any rules, any preconceived rules. We didn't want to make some kind of spa for the soul, but to see if it is possible to arrive to a way to harmoniously living together and to be able to ask ourselves burning questions. And it was a very fertile initiative. And we wanted to do it again, but then the crisis of COVID arrived. And then my colleagues, they suggested to do another version online. I was quite dubious about it, but it worked. We did something in last September with a lot of people really from all over the world. And it touched us, because there were many different initiatives. You can still see this in this, what was all the amount of activities that took part in constellations in this website, theconstellations.net. You can also see something about the work center itself in a website, which is theworkcenter.org. And so we did this 1 week of very intense online meetings. Like every day there were many activities. And then we decided to keep going for all this coming year. Of course, we continue also our theater practice. We rehearse, we create new performances, etc. And so what we decided to do is to create a platform online where we could upload and inform people about our own initiatives, but not only. What is most important for us is to give visibility to people who deserve it, people who are doing a work that is, from an educational point of view, from an integrally educational point of view, work that is meaningful. So what we are doing now is that we are looking for some money to create, to transform a little bit this website so that people can upload directly their own initiatives. And I invite all of you to visit the website and to write also at this email, constellations@theworkcenter.org, because any partner will be able to upload their own initiatives and the participation to their own activities will be decided of course by them, how people will take part. Whether we find this money or not is not important, meaning if we find some money, we will make a little bit more professional website, platform. If we don't find, we will in any case do it ourselves. The actors in our group, we don't have an administrator, we don't have people doing PR, the actors do everything. What for us is important is to see how we can serve a developing society, how we can be of help in fostering a new imagination for the future. We know, I'm pretty old now, so I know that the new imagination of the future will not come from me. And I am not sure that it will come from the high places of culture that, like universities, theaters, museums. I'm not sure. We have been traveling in the last 10 years and we have been meeting a lot of different communities, mainly marginalized communities. So now, for example, we are in contact with indigenous people in Brazil, or with communities of people of color who are fighting for equality, for social justice, for equality of education. We feel that in these communities there are the seeds of a future we don't know, solutions we do not know. And we think that perhaps this kind of institutions like theaters, we have certain tools that maybe could be useful for the future. And what we would like to do is to collaborate with people who are experts in other fields, especially education, with in view an integral education of the human being as a citizen, as an active and responsible citizen, and so that our work has a meaning. Perhaps the tools we have can help giving birth to something that we ourselves do not know. We think that those are the times we live in are quite dark. There are ugly things happening, scary things happening, and the future is uncertain. Everything is uncertain, and but we think that there are somewhere young people who have the competencies, the talents, and the imagination to create a better world, not maybe for this generation for sure, but for the next ones. So thank you so much for all the work you have been doing. Thank you to everybody here who is presenting their own initiatives, and
thank you.
Good luck to everybody.
Thank you, Mario. So, and thank you, Anna, Sophie, for all your beautiful initiatives. We'll make sure to share the Global Teaching Insights platform. Everyone interested in transforming universities and what Sophie presented, please join us later in the hub track of the festival. Respublica is going to host a dedicated session for that. And Mario, everyone who believes that, which I'm sure there are a lot of people who believes that art can be a force for good, and there are ways in which we can use artistic expression to involve people in ways where they can contribute in their society. Please check out theconstellations.net, and I'm sure we'll have other opportunities to interact throughout the year and do beautiful things together. Now we'll move into the next segment of the Launchpad session. See you soon.
Good afternoon, everybody from France. Welcome back to the Launchpad. I'm delighted to be joined today, or this afternoon, by Maria Migueles, Nicolas Birjol, and Dr. Simon Rana and Adora Ibunma, who are going to talk to us a little bit about their initiatives. So, Maria, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me introduce you the HIPHOP initiative. So my name is Marie-Ève Migueres. I work in a French public research institute called the IRD. With the media RFI Planet Radio, we have created the HIPHOP network, HIPHOP for E-Participatory Observers Project, les petites ondes participatives en français. Since 2017, young observers, the HIPHOPers, collect testimonies from their fathers, their grandmother, neighbor, workers on the impact of global changes in their environment. The HIPHOPers use their smartphone to create short and dynamic videos of 2 or 3 minutes. I can give you some examples. Mejo shows the sea level rise in the Pacific island of New Caledonia. Jean-Yves reveals the air pollution in the city of Abidjan. We have Louis, who alerts on the drought and difficulty of cultivating in Haiti, and we have the COVID crisis in Democratic Republic of Congo. Now we count around 300 videos from 50 countries. We post it every Friday on the HIPHOP Network Facebook page. We count around 60,000 followers, and the majority are between 20 and 30 years old. Another main part of the project is to use the video to initiate public meetings and debates on sustainable development. We invite the young people with the scientific community, stakeholders, NGOs, artists, teachers to meet each other, to discuss the issues and identify solutions for the future. HIPHOP is deployed in school club, at the university, during HIPHOP camp meetings, and in autonomy with free access tutorials. For the story, on the slide, please, we have a picture. It was taken in New Caledonia during a HIPHOP training. And the girl on the left is Mejo, a law student. With a video, she brought the voice of a fellow citizen of the island of the Pacific Island to the UN Climate Change Conference. Now, I would like to present the HIPHOP contest, the third one, with a little teaser of 1 minute, and you will see the HIPHOPer in action. Thank you. I hope you like the teaser. So I invite you to apply for the 4 awards until April 4th. This year, the Emergency Science Award relates to waters, rivers, and oceans. The contest is sponsored by the famous artist Grand Corps Malade, and the jury is composed of women and men of science, of media, people in charge of program, of foundation and NGO. what about the winners? The winners will be invited to France for an immersion stay or for an international event like the World Congress about Nature in September in Marseille. So you can find all the information and tutorials on our website. You can also join the specific Facebook group for advice. So welcome, join the Hip Hop Network and share the initiative with your community. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marie-Ève, for that, for sharing with us. Please, everybody, do apply for the awards that Marie-Ève has told us about. I'm delighted now to hand over to the Varkey Foundation. We have two people joining us, Nicholas Pirshaw and Dr. Simon Rana, who will tell us about their teacher task force and the work they've been doing on mental health. Over to you two.
Thanks so much, Leonora. Over the last year, COVID-19 has shut down education systems worldwide, and it's cut off over 1.5 billion learners from the classroom. But what's been the impact of this crisis on the mental health of teachers and students around the world? Well, last year, our foundation, which works to improve the status of teachers worldwide, our foundation set up a teacher task force comprised of 22 teachers from 15 countries around the world to discuss what they think what they're seeing on the ground and what they think can be done. And we're delighted to share our preliminary findings here with you today for the first time at the Learning Planet Festival. Now, we're joined by the chair of this task force, Dr. Simon Rana, who is the Chief Education Ambassador for our foundation, and she's also the CEO and principal of the very prestigious GEMS World Academy in Dubai. Dr. Rana is a school leader and education expert whose extensive experience includes work in areas with high deprivation. She's also a philanthropist and a founding trustee of the Chaners Foundation. Dr. Rana, hello.
Hi, Nicholas.
Dr. Rana, you've been chairing these discussions over the last few weeks. You've been hearing from teachers all around the world about the mental health impact of COVID-19. What have been their main concerns?
So Nicholas, we've been, as you know, meeting as a task force for the last couple of weeks, starting last year. And, you know, the main concerns have been very much around isolation, social isolation, in terms of ensuring that not only themselves, but their students feel that they are connected to a community, because that sense of sort of belonging, being with their friends, being with their teachers, and being in a position whereby they are not socially distancing or wearing masks all the time isn't something that's not impacting on their mental, psychological, and physical growth, if you like, as well as health. So social isolation has been something that's been an incredible sort of priority for the way in which we are wanting to sort of approach the sort of COVID reactions in schools. I think also there's been a real sort of a lack of, I don't know if this would be the right way to say it, but one of the things that we've been discussing is sort of like a lack of incentive for teachers. You know, we are like other frontline workers every day through COVID. It's been going on for nearly 1 whole year, getting up, going into work every day. And, you know, is the appreciation there of what we are doing? It's a job like no other. It's a job that we are walking into every day and making sure that we are keeping ourselves safe, keeping our students safe, keeping the parent community safe, and keeping everything really working in order in terms of the curriculum content, because as you know, examinations are continuing. So this real sense of incentivized sort of rewards, as well as not monetary, but just appreciation, it very much feels that governments are not taking that necessarily into account. I think also one of the things that the task force has been able to discuss in some depth is this sort of sense of almost the erosion of hope that our networks will be able to sort of support us better. And I suppose I'm talking about governments and leadership in our schools, making sure that hope is instilled in everything we are doing, and to keep on going with the work that we are. I think, yeah, can I continue? Is that okay, Nicholas?
Yeah, no, please.
There's two more sort of major concerns that I wanted to discuss. I think one of them is about the media and the advice that we are getting all around the world. We're getting sort of sometimes contradictory advice about how to continue to teach in schools, or should we be in lockdown and teaching remotely? Is there an issue in terms of the digital divide with some of our poorer communities? And then there are different layers of poorness, if you like, in our communities, those that have mobile phones or computers, and those that really just don't have anything. So that has been a huge concern. And then finally, I think one of the big issues in terms of mental health that we have picked up is lack of routine and guidelines, if you like, that we are receiving from governments or senior leaders in schools, in that there's a sense of almost drifting into a sense of hopelessness if we don't have the right structures and formations that are going to help with our mental health and well-being whilst teaching in schools.
Thanks so much, Simon. Those are all really, really fantastic points, and it's really interesting that these have come from classroom teachers. And obviously, what's been so interesting about this pandemic is learning for so many years has been a profoundly social process. It's been something that you do with other people, and that's been something which has been incredibly disrupted by this pandemic, and teachers are feeling incredibly isolated. What do you think they want done about it? So obviously there's a lot of problems. Have you seen any sort of clear paths to a solution from teachers, either from the classroom or from what they want for policymakers? I appreciate it's quite a difficult thing to solve.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really interesting question, Nicholas, because I think it is a difficult thing to solve, but who better than classroom teachers, a group of 22 classroom teachers from across the globe. Teachers are the best providers of solutions, I believe. So we've given this a really good amount of time to think through these solutions. And I think three key things come out, I think, from the task force. One of them is very much almost like a mental health task force toolkit, if you like. So when and during the pandemic, but also when we come out of this pandemic, because we do have hope that we will be coming out of this pandemic. There are things that we as teachers need to be able to do, and we need to be encouraged and supported to be able to do these things to support our children and the learning and protect the learning that we all love so much in our schools. So things like ensuring that there is the curriculum is fit for purpose. And by that, we don't want to just see the STEM subjects, but we want to see some great expressive art subjects. We want to see mental health and wellness. We want to see aspects of counselling provided in and around our curriculum in our schools, which unfortunately is not the case currently. So we really do want to encourage governments and policymakers to take this on board in terms of the real genuine curriculum. Is that allowing us to be resilient, confident, secure young individuals as students? So that's something we want people to look at. I think the other thing that we're wanting governments and policymakers to look at very carefully is the assessment regime and how that is affecting our mental health and wellness, but also the mental health and wellness of teachers who are having to continue teaching the specification and the syllabus when actually things are just not quite normal at the moment, and we need to be really taking that into account. And I think finally, one of the things that I think as a world, as a human race, we have realized and noticed is that education sits firmly in a relational space. And it is not one of those things that can be transformed with the use of technology, although technology has been something that has saved relationships in terms of education under this global pandemic. And that's a really interesting nuanced point, I think. We are encouraging, and we want people to understand that education is about relationships, it's about feelings, it's about connections, it's about being together. And I go back to my first point about isolation. It's great to have these teaching opportunities over Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and it's fantastic that virtual reality has enabled the globe to keep connected under this global pandemic. But education is one of those things, like religion, like relationships, like love, like passion, that we want people to feel it and be around it, and it isn't something that can be transformed or replaced, if you like, with technology. A teacher is a teacher, and the words that a teacher executes while she's teaching and the passion she has for her subject is something that we have noticed is just so important for our educational establishment.
Thank you so much, Dr. I wish we had more time to unpack all of this because it's hugely important. And I think in particular what you're saying about what classroom teachers want, that tension between assessment and curriculum and the need just to get through the days is hugely important as well. But as you say, the solution lies, and we feel this very profoundly as a foundation, in classroom teachers, and they need all the support that they can get at the moment. I wish we could talk to you for a lot longer about all of these issues. I'm being told that we need to wrap up, unfortunately, but we look forward to putting out a full policy report later on in the year. Well, actually, probably over the next couple of months, and also this first aid toolkit, this mental health toolkit that Dr. Rana talked about. So thank you so much, everyone. And Dr. Rana, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Nicholas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. I also wish we had more time, but I'm really excited that this is the launch of this this toolkit and this report, and I look forward to seeing it when it's published. I'd like to hand over now to Adora Egunma, who is going to tell us about the Fresh Look Africa. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adora Iguma. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm the founder of the Fresh Look Africa. So the Fresh Look Africa was founded last year. We are less than a year, and we did that to provide the necessary support that student teachers and beginning teachers need here in Nigeria to become global change makers. So when I was in school, when I finished my undergraduate studies, I found out that I didn't have enough support to go into the classroom. So my journey, my 4-year journey in school was not enough to prepare me for what I was about to begin in the classroom. So I went ahead to look for the necessary or the available support systems here in Nigeria, but I found out that there was, little to none here in Nigeria. So that was why I started the initiative, the Fresh Look Africa, and with the aim of providing enough quality teachers here. That is one thing that we don't really have here in Nigeria or in Africa. We lack enough quality teachers for the number of schools that we have here and for the number of children that we have here as well. So we wanted to raise quality teachers that will go into the classroom and even beyond the classroom to raise and refine the education system here in Africa. So what we do, we provide the necessary support systems in form of trainings, in form of mentorship, in form of job opportunities, internships, and the lots, while leveraging tech as well. So we make use of available technology solutions here in Nigeria to train these teachers so that they can reform the education sector and it can be up to standard, because due to statistics, we have seen that the education system here is on a black level, and that has to change. So that was why the Fresh Look Africa was made. And our focus or our target audience are student teachers and beginning teachers, because we feel like those are the people who have not yet gone into the system. So they can go in with a refined mindset and they can be trained to become dynamic and go with the changes in the environment. So even during the pandemic, we were training teachers because we were on, universities here in Nigeria were on strike. So most of these students were not going to school, and we had to train these student teachers as well as some beginning teachers so that they will be equipped for what was about to come in the next year. And also I have, I don't know if I'll still need this slide, but I've literally said what it is we do. Then also we focus on innovation. We try to use, like I said, we try to use available technology solutions by collaborating with people and use the ones that are already on ground. Then we have, we make use of this collaboration as well. We collaborate with a lot of teachers, on the Learning Planet, we have our program there. So right now we're having an event for teachers to commemorate the International Day of Education. So we have lots of teachers and lots of experts in the education field to train these teachers to be ready for what the pandemic has brought and the changes that are here now. I think that is all about what we do. I just try to give the summary and just go in less than 10 minutes.
Thank you very much for that. That's really lovely to hear, and I'm glad that we've got initiatives from all over the world joining us in the Launchpad today.
Thank you.
So all of our participants are publicizing their work through the Learning Planet platform. So please do check on YouTube and on Attendify, where we've posted the links to all of their work. Don't forget to apply for the EPOP video competition and to join us later in the day for all of our live events. So now I would like to thank Marie-Ève, Nicholas, Dr. Rama, and Adora from the EPOP video competition, the Valky Foundation Teacher Task Force, and Fresh Look Africa for sharing their work with us. As I say, we've shared links to these initiatives in the chat on the festival platforms, and we hope that you'll continue the conversation through the live chat for the rest of the day. Tudor will be back with you shortly with our next Launchpad initiatives. Thank you.
Hello again for another segment of the Launchpad session. This is an exciting conversation with three very interesting initiatives: the European SchoolNet, Remake Learning, and the Weave. So the first presentation that we will hear now is by Tommaso Della Vecchia, and the initiative presented, it's called European SchoolNet Support to the Green and Digital Transition in Education. Tommaso, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Hope you can hear me and see me fine, as well as my presentation. And first of all, thanks a lot for having me here, for giving me this opportunity. It's really great to be able to give our small contribution to the festival for this such an important topic. So as mentioned today, I just would like to kind of bring to the people that participate to the festival a few information that I hope would be helpful for them. This is especially dedicated to educators, teachers, and anybody that has some responsibility in training youth and training young people, students, and pupils. My name is Tommaso Della Vecchia, as mentioned, and I work for European SchoolNet. And we think that we have to make our bit to support the green and digital transition for what concerns education, of course. Now, just in a very few seconds, what's European SchoolNet? In case you're not familiar with the organization, we are a non-for-profit international association, and we gather 32 ministries of education across Europe and beyond that are committed to bring innovation to teaching and learning. Of course, we work directly then with ministries, but also and extensively with schools and teachers. We provide evidence to attempts to improve and transform education. We support schools and teachers in their practice directly. So we help them kind of change the way teaching and learning happens, to include also some very important topics, as we will see very shortly. And we sustain networks of teachers because we believe, of course, that through collaboration among schools and students, we can achieve a so much better awareness and sustainable way of life for the whole community and the whole society. Now, we believe in the green and digital transition, and it's something that we have to contribute to. It's completely in line with the European Commission, of course, priorities, and they are interconnected very much because, of course, we have as a vocation, we focus on the power and the impact that digital technology can have in teaching and learning and societies overall. But we believe, of course, it needs to be included with a very thorough pedagogical thinking and in a very sustainable way. And we believe it can lead, of course, to a better, greener society and a more sustainable overall sector. So, but all of this, of course, remains a bit abstract until we focus on the initiatives that we are launching in the Launchpad today. The first one is a pilot project that we run for the European Commission together with PPMI, which is based on, kind of tackle the nature-based solutions and how they can be integrated in education. Nature-based solutions, as you may know, are those solutions to practical, very real and tangible problem, not based only on technology, but really taking inspiration and learning from nature. So they lead, of course, to biodiversity, sustainability, and environmental protection. We believe they should be part of the education process. So the students should be aware, students should work with this solution possibly in the classroom and should develop a much more thorough understanding of how actually solving real societal or economic problem through nature-based solutions can have a positive impact on the environment. So in this pilot project, we offer to teachers 15 learning scenarios available in 13 languages that can be freely used by teachers for introducing this concept in their lessons. These learning scenarios are tested with more than 1,000 students, so we hope they will really meeting your expectations as educators. So, and we really recommend to use it, and we believe training teachers that would train then their students would have a very tangible impact on the society and the environment protection. Now, we also just launched a couple of weeks ago a massive open online course connected to this pilot project. So I really wanted to invite any teachers, especially from the primary, secondary school level, to join this course, where they would explore more in detail what nature-based solutions are, how they can be introduced in teaching and learning, and how they can have an impact in the behavioral change of our students and pupils, and to make them more aware and active in really kind of applying these solutions to their community issues and problems. So I really recommend you to join. Of course, all the links will be shared on the chat in a few minutes. And I hope to see many of you there as well. Now, going back to also what is part of our organization vision, the digital transition and transformation, it's something that we are hearing more and more also during this pandemic crisis, and something that has been very important to us as we work on the field of innovating teaching and learning. But we are also aware of the issue and challenges that pupils and teachers face while being online. So we wanted to tackle that through several initiatives. This is one of them. It's an initiative that starts from the understanding of this problem, the problem that, of course, many very young pupils and children use social media before having the legal age even to using that. But this is not the problem. The problem is that very few of them, when they encounter themselves in a difficult situation, do reach out to their teachers for help. And this is the first problem. And the second problem is that actually 25% of these very young children experience bad, difficult situation, negative experiences online. So to tackle that and to empower pupils to be more safe and more responsible online, we develop an open school of social networks. This is open to any teachers and students. It's really, really recently launched and is also a completely open and nonprofit initiative. What it does is that leads teachers and students through understanding what they should do and what they shouldn't do online and how to protect themselves on social media. With, of course, learning more and more of very negative impact that social media might have on children for what they might be exposed to. So through collecting cards and through a very gamified environment and very safe environment, students, but also educators can learn how they should protect their data, to what to share online and what not to share, what to expect from other users, how to manage relationship with other users, and just make the best of social network and avoid being faced with very unpleasant or harmful situation. Again, so a very friendly and fun-based platform for teachers and users, for students and pupils alike to use and to learn. The initiative is offered by EduPad and European SchoolNet. So I'll really recommend you to take a look, and I'm sharing also some links to where you can find all these solutions. Now, I don't want to take more of your time. I hope these and others of the projects that we run and offer to teachers will be useful to you to create, of course, a greener and a more digital, positive society interaction among teachers, students, and schools. And I thank you again for the opportunity to present these initiatives to you today. And of course, I remain available for any questions and additional information you may want to have from our side. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tommaso, for your time and for sharing all these great resources with the education community in Europe, but I'm sure they can be used from people across the world, really. So thank you. Now we'll give the stage to Tyler, who's going to share with us how Remake Learning is exploring the future of learning in the Pittsburgh region. Tyler, please.
Thank you very much. I just want to share our excitement for being part of the festival and share 3 initiatives that Remake Learning will launch in 2021 to really deeply explore what the future of learning could look like across the region. On slide 2, you'll see my name is Tyler Samstag. I'm the director of Remake Learning. I'm going to spend just a few minutes giving a high-level overview of what Remake Learning is. On slide 3, you'll see Remake Learning is an ecosystem. And on slide 4, you'll see that it takes root in Western Pennsylvania in the East Coast of the United States. Ecosystems exist all around us, and Remake Learning was launched approximately 15 years ago, just under 15 years ago. And additionally, on slide 5, you'll see Remake Learning is a network consisting of many different individuals and organizations. On slide 6, you'll see Remake Learning launched, as I said, nearly 15 years ago in 2007. And really, it was the launch when colleagues across the spectrum started to come together and recognize that the world was changing around us. It was continuing to change exponentially, and yet classrooms simply weren't keeping up. And so these individuals from organizations like foundations and schools, universities, museums, and governments started meeting quite informally around food, breakfast in particular. And over time, these meetings continued to grow. They include scientists, gamers, artists, school administrators, and makers, and they continuously showed up and really strive to grapple with some of the most complex problems we were seeing in education. So on slide 7, here we are in 2021. We are nearly 15 years into Remake Learning, and it now consists of over 600 individuals, organizations, and projects continuously working together to address some of the big, wicked problems we experience in education. On slide 8, Remake Learning is a network that ignites engaging, relevant, and equitable learning practices in support of young people navigating rapid social and technological change. On slide 9, we're going to really emphasize those 3 words that lie at the heart of Remake Learning's mission. It's engaging, relevant, and equitable. And so by engaging, we mean learners have to have the support and encouragement to become active problem solvers, creators, innovators, and advocates. By relevant, we mean learners do work that is meaningful to their own interests, goals, and lives. And lastly, by equitable, we mean learners with the greatest need get more resources and support. On slide 10, we truly believe that no organization alone can transform teaching and learning to better serve today's young people. So at the heart of Remake Learning is bringing all different organizations together to work collaboratively on some of the largest, most wicked problems in education. In 2011, or excuse me, on slide 11, in 2021, Remake Learning is committed to exploring the future of learning in the Pittsburgh region. On slide 12, you can see a publication that Remake Learning published earlier in the summertime called Remaking Tomorrow. Remake Learning brought together its advisory council with partners KnowledgeWorks based out of Ohio in the United States to ask the council where they see education going as it pertains to 3 major areas. And those areas were methods, relationships, and justice. The Remaking Tomorrow campaign, or the Remaking Tomorrow publication, is really serving as the heart of our future exploration. On slide 13, Remake Learning is committed to exploring the future of learning in the Pittsburgh region. And so this morning, I'm excited to share 3 initiatives that we will be launching in the upcoming months. And slide 14 is the first, and that is our Moonshot Grants. We'll be launching the Moonshot Grants in the upcoming 2 weeks. And this catalytic grant opportunity really focuses on bold ideas for the future of learning. On slide 15, you can see that the Moonshot vision is bold, experimental, and just. So through the support of 4 regional foundations in the Pittsburgh region, Remake Learning will be distributing $1.1 million to organizations to explore the future of learning. We'll ask grantees to envision what their preferred future of learning would look like. What are attributes of this preferred future, and how does it differ from today? Grantees will then be encouraged to take bold actions today to accelerate their movement towards this preferred future. Again, we will emphasize collaboration and bold actions. On slide 16, we'll also launch later in the season the Tomorrow campaign, which is powered by Remake Learning in partnership with the Grable Foundation. On slide 17, you'll see that the Tomorrow campaign calls us to forge a future where each day holds promise for every learner, where youth, families, and educators connect timeless ideas and new ways of learning to prepare for what comes next, no matter what tomorrow might bring. So in 2021, Tomorrow is exploring what we can do today to make tomorrow a more promising place for all learners. At its heart, the Tomorrow campaign is a public awareness campaign where we'll ask practitioners, we'll ask educators, we'll ask youth what they want for tomorrow. This will be a multi-month public awareness campaign around what we can do today to forge a better future ahead of us. And on slide 18, excited to share the launch of the 2021 Remake Learning Days across America. On slide 19, you'll see regions where Remake Learning Days festivals will occur in 2021. And you'll see the purple circle is around the Pittsburgh region. This is where the first Remake Learning Days was launched 5 years ago. Remake Learning Days is billed as the world's largest open house to hands-on engaging learning. This started in 2016 in the Pittsburgh region, asking organizations part of the network to open their doors and host events for families and learners. These events have spread across the United States, and in 2021, there will be 14 different regions taking place this spring, really focused on hands-on engaging learning. On slide 20, you'll see all the different places that this will occur, really spanning the West Coast to the East Coast across the United States. And on slide 21, you'll see that these festivals really highlight learning areas. And so events will fall within the following categories: arts, maker, outdoor learning, science, technology, youth voice, and professional development. We're eager to see how this year's festival will leverage technology for the first time to really increase one's ability to attend events, not only in their own region, but potentially events all across the country. On slide 22, there is contact information. We really we invite you to do this exploration with us, and perhaps your organization have also been exploring similar ideas, similar topics, and we'd love to learn from you. So feel free to reach out to us. We have our email address, we have our website and social media, and look forward to doing this exploration in the future in the coming months. And thank you for having us as part of this festival.
Thank you so much, Tyler, for all your amazing work and for all the initiatives that you're starting in these crazy times that we go through. Now, I would love to give the virtual stage to Mazi Raz and Gordon Knox from the Weave Network, please.
Thank you so much for providing us with a moment here to talk to you about Weave. We are an organization that has assembled the capacities and experiences of a group and a growing group of people who are focused on the concept of education, placemaking, and leadership. And our challenge is to, and our goal is to empower organizations to be effective in the world. Weave provides problem solving, consulting, and unity building services to organizations and institutions committed to transformative change through the empowerment of individuals and communities. NGOs, educational institutions, government organizations, and municipalities seeking to empower their systems, increase effectiveness, enhance community engagement, and build identity through the example of collective empowerment will all benefit from an entanglement with Weave. Learning as a way of being, placemaking as a form of community realization, and leadership as an example of both process and goal. These are the orientations and expertise of Weave.
Weave invites world makers, placemakers, policymakers, peacemakers, culture makers, and change makers to re-engage the world through issues that matter with energy and commitment to regeneration. With our network of partners, we have the capacity and confidence to address the significant issues facing us and the skills and experience to activate learning, placemaking, and leadership within organizations and communities.
Weave considers placemaking to be an increasingly prevalent form of inquiry. Placemaking draws upon systemic wisdom. It threads collective imagination toward a deliberate braiding of the public realm, creative spaces, participatory engagement, social practices, and ecological desires. Placemaking engenders an informal network of policymakers, artists, funders, planners, leaders, and learners who flow through varying rituals of gathering, perspective building, and intention shaping.
And then Weave approaches leadership as a shared work among those engaged in revitalizing a hopeful future, in the marshalling of resources towards it, and navigating around barriers. Those engaged in this work look inward for motivation, inspiration, and energy. They look outward to collective engagement and followership. Learning is inherent in the word of leading, keeping it permanently curious, critically aware, effectively collaborative, and continually informed.
And with regards to our third area of focus, Weave sees learning as any process that leads to a capacity change in us individually and collectively. Our attention is on three interlocking factors: learning to be me, learning to be we, and learning to weave. To be me, we consider learning that interacts with life world that forms the basis of permanent curiosity. To be we employ project-based, collaborative, co-designed curricula that drive a powerful, adaptive global network of world makers. And to learn to weave, we transcend disciplines, partake in complex entanglements, and commingle in systems that are challenged or face collapse.
And this is how we operate. Weave operates by working with clients using one of these initial areas of focus: placemaking, leadership, or learning. We model interdisciplinary collaboration, place-based learning, and ways to engage with complex challenges that are completely relying on the fostering of local leadership capacity. All projects are committed to deep learning based on integration. And this is how we operate. Leave operates by working with clients using one of these initial areas of focus as our starting point of entry, whether it's placemaking, learning, or leadership development. We model interdisciplinary collaboration, place-based learning, and ways to engage with complex challenges that rely on fostering of local leadership capacity, All projects are committed to keep learning based on integrating worldviews, local expertise, and multiple ways of knowing. The objective is collective insight to drive the project forward. Through our approach, we begin to draw deep interconnections that reveal the qualities of the whole system, a process that allows us to work with others to nurture systemic wisdom.
And as a group, Weave comprises a group of Renaissance idealists, systems thinkers, psychogeographers, and artists with a deep admiration for the innate capacities of people and the incredibly powerful agency of small groups. Intensively curious, sensors of deeper currents, fearless in exploring the unusual and the unique, Weave members are equally adept with the logical and the aesthetic, with holding a strong ethical center while working for collective betterment. All Weave members thrive on the fringes as explorers, pioneers, hermenauts, boundary crossers. They seek to listen intently to what wishes to live through them. The projects they undertake offer the opportunity to partake in the aesthetic of hope.
We thank you very much this afternoon for listening to us. We invite you to visit our website. I'll paste the link here to review a sample range of projects with which we've been involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who is present in this segment. Thank you, Tommaso. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Mazi and Gordon. It was great to see the variety of projects. And we are reaching almost the end of this Launchpad, International Launchpad edition. We thank you, everyone. And I'm going to pass the mic to my team member, Leonora, for the last segment of the Launchpad. And with everyone else who's watching online and you as speakers, we welcome you to the rest of the festival. There are plenty of sessions, roundtables, debates happening throughout the day, and we're looking forward to engage with you in meaningful conversation. Thank you.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the last Launchpad session before lunchtime. I'm delighted to be joined by Thierry de Vulpier from Evidence-B. Thierry, over to you.
Nice to meet you. So I'm Thierry de Vulpier, CEO and co-founder of Evidence-B, and I will present you a project named EduGeo and the evolution of this project. So maybe you have seen the first slide with a name. I go to the second one, just to explain in a nutshell what we do at Evidence-B. Actually, we are doing resources for education system, mostly K-12, and there is kind of 4 components. We try to use research in cognitive science to unlock the knowledge of kids and students on a very specific subject where those cognitive approach have a new approach to understand why kids are locked or unlocked in some knowledge. So I move to slide 3 in my deck, and we see 3 pillars of what Evidence-B is doing by building these resources. So it's a combination of research on cognitive science that I mentioned, but this is strengthened by an AI engine that we have developed through INRIA and Sorbonne Université. So it's personalized learnings thanks to AI. We will allocate the appropriate exercise or activities for every kids, depending on what will fit them the best. And the third component, it's the UX design. It's a gamification, and in EduGeo, it's a game from Mindtest that have been popular through Minecraft, but this name, it's KidsCode for us. We have a version of Mindtest that is dedicated for this specific project. So slide 4, you can see that every modules, it's always built the same way. There is a profiling test, then you have a series of activities that we offer for the students, and then there is a final test, and algorithms are helping at the beginning with clustering, not for a COVID cluster, but for AI cluster. So I have the group that will help specific kids. We regroup them in a cluster, and then we have multi-embedded that will allocate the exact activities that will fit the demand of every kid. The slide 5 shows 6 of the products that we have developed. We have won the tender from French Ministry of Education for math. It's adaptive math you see on the right, but just bottom of it, it's the EduGeo project, and I will focus on this one. So next slide, the 6, it's adaptive geo. So there is 3 components in adaptive geo. First, this gameplay from Mindtest, then a mapping tool we have developed through IGN. It's a National Geographic Institute in France, and you can take any cards of the French territory, but in the project we are connected with OpenStreetMap, so that means any maps wherever you live could be downloaded in the game, and so you have in a 3D games the real data of the geography beside your school or your town. So this make a real game for development in a real data. And the third component for those modules, it's the scenarios that we develop through cognitive researchers with teacher. Slide number 7. It's the example of the state of the art. So EduGeo was a project already financed by the Ministry of Education and IGN. So you see the map of Narbonne. It's a town in France. Then this map have been downloaded in the game. So you maybe guess that the green square, it's exactly what it is in Narbonne, the same map, but in the game. Then the third picture shows the tools that we have developed. One of the tools, it's a flooding tool. So if you increase the level of the water of a river for some climate change action, you can see the level you will act first and to increase the level of water. And the 5th image, it's a map of the town with a river in the middle. And the 6th one, you see the blue, and you have shown where, if there is an increase of water, what part of the town will be under pressure. So that's the kind of tools we have in the subject. In the AdGeo or Adaptive Geo, it's a project that is on progress, and we are asking for partners. So whoever is listening and want to join AdGeo, they are welcome. It's to from the tool that I show, bring the AI and a cognitive approach that will be led by the nudge approach in the cognitive approach. One of the big issues with climate change, kids and students are very aware about that, but they keep having electricity open in their bedroom and doing a lot of things that are not good for the climate. So the nudge approach, it's how you can change the practices in the student, not just only knows what you should do. So this is one example about photovoltaic we have led in the, you can't read it maybe, but this is a global idea. So you go in the map and you see where you can put the photovoltaic panel to have the good exposition and to bring some new energy, green energy with this green approach. So next slide is the 10th one. There is several tools that we have developed for this game. And the 11th one, it's a combination, a summary of what we do. So you have the map, then you have the 3D tools like flooding, but we have several tools that we have developed. And then we bring this AI engine to make sure that the scenario will fit the group of the kids depending on where they are locked. Of course, all those modules are made, in fact, for classroom. So we have a dashboard we developed for the teacher. Even if you are in a COVID time where everybody is just like us, not in the same place, the kids can be on their home, working on the Kids Code Agile program, doing things by group or alone, and the dashboard will show the teacher where are the kids, where they are progressing or where they are locked in the game. So that's in a nutshell what we have developed through EduGeo that moved to AdGeo, adaptive geo, the fact that we have this AI to have the good scenario depending on where the kids are in the understanding of the notion. I just showed some name of the research lab with whom we work on this project. So we have University of Geneva and University of Paris for cognitive approach, same Institut Jean Nicot and Cogmaster and École Normale Supérieure. And we have Sorbonne University and INRIA for the AI engine. And we are part of an accelerator in London. The name is Educate. That's why I show this, brand. And we have also this other partner, but that's the main idea of the project. And here are my contacts. If you want to be part of this AdGeo project. So Thierry D at evidenceb.com. And I am open to any question.
Many thanks, Thierry.
You're welcome.
I would like to pass the floor now to Project Beyond Education. We're lucky to have two people joining us today, Katerina Kordelakova and Michaela Horvatova. So I'm going to pass over to Katerina now. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I just have to unmute myself. I was just wondering whether Michaela is already here or not.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. I just haven't seen you among the people.
Yes.
So let me just begin. I'm Katerina. I joined the team Beyond Education, and then we are working on developing 21st century competencies online. Currently, our project is a startup project, and then we will present you and we will share with you the ideas that we have about not only the current pilot of the project, but as well about the future of the development of the company. So perhaps I'm not sure how this webinar works. If Michaela can join me, and because we have a presentation with both of us talking, so if she can join and then say some words if she wants to complete what I'm saying. Okay. So whenever you feel like it, Michaela, you can jump in.
Sure.
Okay, so I will then continue. So what is currently be an entrepreneur? Be an entrepreneur, it's an online course, half hybrid, half online course that is being piloted in Abu Dhabi with a group of students. And the goal of it is to develop an entrepreneurship competency here. So it's the first competency that we are developing, and it's one of the courses that we will be developing in the Beyond Education. The idea is that actually the course will develop the 21st century competencies not only through activities, but also through the project-based learning, and that students will have opportunity to really develop those competencies. What we do is that we base our model on CCR, CCR framework on competency development, and the idea behind this that we not only develop the 21st century competencies in a fun way, but as well we measure that we really have impact on the student development, on the development of the student competencies. The target group for our project is the students from 10 to 18. So we focus on this on younger students, and the first pilot is being done with students that are aged 10 to 12. So the project, the course teaches creativity, innovation, risk-taking, user research, identification of users' needs, problem solving, project management, leadership, and self-efficacy. And it includes currently 24 sessions combining theoretical, practical activities and team project for the students. And as I mentioned before, it uses project-based learning and design thinking methodology.
And I think just to add to that, this why we believe our product is robust is because we believe that we can only develop these competencies when all of the systems or parts are aligned. So one is the curriculum design, which we are intentionally integrating those competencies in all of the lesson plans, learning objectives. Same the teacher training. The teacher training was specifically developed in order to train the teachers to be able to use active pedagogical approaches, same as know how to basically detect those competencies in students and how to give them feedback. So we had 3 training sessions, each of 3 hours of the teachers that are delivering the program. And the last third component, so first is the curriculum, second is teacher training, and third is assessment. We have developed with our researcher, psychometrician, psychometric expert, specific pre and post assessment that is aligned, that is measuring all of the competencies we are claiming to develop, that is measuring basically how they are scoring before taking our program and how they will score on these competencies after our program. And the platform that we are using is generating the student report, which is something that students can keep for themselves. They can also show it to parents, and it basically shows where the students stand on the specific competencies when they are taking the test and after. So the idea here is to really show the impact of our programs to students, parents, and teachers.
And I'm taking it further. I'm not sure to what extent you could have seen the screen share that I showed, Leonora. But so to follow on what Michaela just said, so the idea is that we will not only develop this first course that is aiming at developing entrepreneurial competency, but that we develop other courses in the future, starting from now, mainly on the digital platform, on the Dream Shaper, providing an experience for students that will be engaging, at the same time developing the competencies for real. So we will be measuring that. And the idea is to develop the courses on global citizenship, communication, collaboration, creativity. And those courses will specifically target these competencies as mentioned. And they are always, as you probably, if you're interested in developing 21st century competencies, you know that these competencies are intertwined and they are developed always in this sort of like at the same time. But the idea here is to focus on specifically some of the sub-competencies and competencies within the 21st century competencies that we mentioned, and to tracks for students, so they also know explicitly what are the competencies they are developing throughout the courses they're taking with the Beyond Education.
And just to add to that, at the core of all of these programs and the design is the CCR framework, the Center for Curriculum Redesign framework, which has spent a lot of, I think, over 5 years on research of what are the competencies that are really relevant for the labor market, for the academic outcomes, and also for the social outcomes. And at the same time, we have done a lot of research into basically breaking them down into sub-competencies, so understanding what are the specific kind of behaviors or learning outcomes that we should be looking for in students. And at the same time, we did it at a proficiency level. So we understand what are the kind of behaviors and outcomes that students need to demonstrate when they are 10 to 12 or when they are 14 to 16. So everything is very much adapted to the developmental stage of the students, with the learning sciences and developmental psychology in the back of our mind when we are designing our programs.
And perhaps last a snippet of what we are doing before we conclude our presentation here.
Yeah, I think it would be good to show some of the, because these are sort of screenshots of the platform and what are the different things that we are doing, so that we can just show you what is the student experience, what is the teacher experience, and just the demo of the semi-assessment.
So now what you can actually see in front of you is how looks the DreamShaper platform that actually has integrated the content of the learning experience that is called entrepreneurship. So that is aiming at developing the entrepreneurship competency. And so you see this is something that is really visual for the student, because they see their output as they go through visually different sessions of the program. They have here on the right side, you see how a page an interactive page looks when a student clicks on continue and they are going throughout the learning experience. And it's done on one side really visually, and on the other side something that you can't really see here, but it's really interactive. Per each page you have an activity that you have to really do. So it's something that provides an interactive experience with the students, so managing that their attention span is still there. So currently the program, as we mentioned at the beginning, is being done in a hybrid way. So the teachers who went through the teacher training are administering or accompanying students throughout this experience. But this year we will fully develop this experience online. So we will working much closer way with the DreamShaper. So we provide fully online experience, and then we really nudge students through different activities that will be shorter than that they were when they were instructed by teachers. So here is sort of a view how different outputs look, because the students can click here so they see the outputs that they uploaded, and this helps them to see what is the journey they have already gone through and where they are heading, and they always can have a look at it back and see what they have already accomplished in terms of learning of these competencies. So what you can see is there is a wing for people who know design thinking. One of the approaches that is being currently used in the entrepreneurship course is the design thinking methodology as a way how to actually build a project online. So this is class management tool. So how this is viewed from the side of the teachers, and they can actually have access to the fully developed lesson plans and sessions. So this is something that we have done. And then so what we are currently doing is that we are launching the project in online version, and then we are currently looking for people who would like to join the adventure and develop with us the tool that will develop the 21st century competencies online for real. So our positions are opened on beyondeducation.tech. So
Thank you.
If you want to join us.
If you share the link, we can share it so that all the festival participants can see. And thank you very much for the call to join and the call to action. I'd like to thank all the speakers from this Launchpad session for the time that they've taken to be with us during the session, and also all of the speakers in this morning's Launchpad. We started at 9:30 French time, and we've heard from 24 initiatives from all around the world in the last few hours, and even more if you've been tuning into our French language Launchpad, which has been happening concurrently. So we have shared links to all of these initiatives in the chat on Attendify and on YouTube on our two festival platforms. And we hope that you will all take the opportunity to continue the conversation with our speakers and with each other through the live chat for the rest of the day. The Launchpad will be back after lunch, or after our lunch in France, at 4 p.m. CET. So please do join us then. But in the meantime, please feel free to use the links on the left-hand side of the festival platform to join one of our other sessions. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you at some of our other sessions going forward.
Thank you.
Very much, Leonora. Bye-bye.